Good morning, guys. And this morning, I wanted to talk a little bit about the video I put out this morning and understand that I just had some stuff going on last night that came up out of nowhere. So I made sure to, as I woke up a little bit early, I was like, hey, let me put out that video just so people have a little bit of insight if they wake up a little early too. And this is going to be very interesting, but these are type of things that you can understand once you do have some a little bit advanced look on markets, right? You have the ability to be patient because you've not necessarily, or maybe you have maybe taken some loss on the shorter end of the stick, right? On the shorter expirations, or experience how volatile markets can be in this environment. And this is something that I just wanted to mention at the beginning here. Hey, 80% off for the course down in the description if you want to learn why we're reading into things this way, how things can unconfirm, how you can manage your trades actively. Hey, it's 80% off for the full technical course down in the description. Click that link to get some learning in, right? If this is a very troublesome market for you right now, hey, that might mean we need some more patience. It might mean we need some more learning, but that is there for you. But I wanted to talk a lot about some things in that video, right? I know I just put out that video this morning, so I wanted to talk about the first thing to pay attention to, and that is if the 2 hour is able to confirm up and we actually see that positivity continue, maybe even going to the weekly expected move. We still know that bears are in this area, and we know that if the 2 hour confirms, we know how that goes wrong. So we need to see a strong move with some news behind it on the 2 hour. That is how you bottom out today. Isn't that crazy? That's all you have to do to bottom out today is you get a little piece of good news, this 2 hour confirms up, and you take out these levels and you head a little bit higher, and maybe you even see something a little crazy, but you need that good news. Or else if the 2 hour can confirm up, you might want to be paying attention to the divergence needing to form on the SPY over the next couple of trading sessions. And then this would be the second point to pay attention to, and look at all that stuff down there. Look at all those data points all in the same area. So this point might be the most important part to watch throughout this week. And then if we're going to go a little bit longer, hey, we're going to see that daily be able to fully confirm down. One thing I wanted to show off was, yes, it is confirmed down. Good confirmation. Good confirmation. It looks like it's just touching on the RSI and a negative bar. So this is great to pay attention to. Volatility overall up by over 10% yesterday. So that means we have a chance for a bounce. This could be that dead cat again showing its head if we do not have news behind it. But I wanted to show you something interesting when you go look at futures. Futures did not confirm the downside. The US 100 and the S&P 500 futures there, they did not curl down on these MACDs. So I would really be paying attention to that because normally the futures market is actually leading a little bit because it has a little bit more info. You can pay attention closer to the daily chart because it includes some of that price action. But we like to look at things on the SPY and we'll take it very, very seriously. But for the time being, this is just an interesting point to bring up that we didn't mention in the video this morning. The things that we were mentioning in this morning were the 30-minute divergences in a few stocks, right? We noticed that JP Morgan has some weakness and momentum here. We noticed that something like even AVGO, like I know that this isn't the best in the world. It's very, very flat. It's not the best at all. But if this 2 hour is able to curl up, that is very close to going positive. So I'd be paying attention to all the semiconductors because those are the ones that are saying, hey, we could curl up on the 2 hour chart. AMD is one of them. Look how close that is to the center line. If that curls up and this ends up being a positive move, if we can take out these levels and hold them, that would be fantastic for AMD. Is AMD giving you a signal that says, yes, that is a high probability? Well, we do see from this that the 30-minute has some serious divergences here. I really wanted to just map this out slower than even yesterday. I know we went over, or this morning, I guess. I know we went over this a few times, but I wanted to really, I had some stuff come up, and then at the same time, I go, let me sleep on this. Let me really sleep on this so I can do a good job trying to help people out there with some information. I wanted to really sleep on it and be like, are we really at risk of seeing some kind of crash? And I think that answer is yes, but you don't necessarily see that kind of structure now. If anything, we would need some kind of rally that potentially does fade, maybe with no good news or something like that. So what we'll pay attention to is the reversal signals that can come. There are bounces that happen either way, and you will notice that these are very simple looks here on your 30-minute for the MACD. We see that divergence proven right there. Very, very nice and confirmed. We are notifying Patreon members to pay attention to this because this is very, very important. And then we notice down here on the RSI. Now, I do want to click into this RSI just for a brief moment to show you guys because look at the divergence. Look how significant that really is. Okay, that is a significant divergence on the 30-minute, and that likes to do what? Curl up 2 hour charts. So we're going to be watching. Now, if we go over and you're like AMD, I'm not someone who trusts AMD with a lot of my money. personally, but maybe you trust NVIDIA, and NVIDIA could curl up that 2-hour. It's a little further away than AMD and maybe AVGO, but for the time being, if that's able to go positive and take back that 5, that could be a good sign if we're able to break through that 114 level and hold above this block up in here. That will be very important. Do we have signals in here suggesting that that is a possibility or a good probability? We actually see the signals as a yes, and we have a good confirmation yesterday, right at the end of the day, good confirmation. We're going to do the same thing here. Look how the price action is coming down. Okay, that's awesome. And then we want to look at this MACD, and you're probably looking at this going, ooh, this isn't the best. And really, it's not. It's very flat, just slightly up. But when you compare this to the price action, you kind of see this is dramatically down while this is overall slightly up. And when you include the RSI, you blatantly see that it's more significant on the RSI. So this means that we have a chance here. This means we have a chance here in NVIDIA, AMD, Meta, these kind of stocks are saying something. And we've done this before. We did this back on August 4th. The same type of situation was popping up. NVIDIA, I believe, dipped down again to make another divergence. And then everyone was saying, oh, this market's going to crash. And then we actually turned to the upside and things just screamed higher. Okay? But we had good news behind it. This is going to be key for everything going on here. If this does not have good news behind it, we are not close to the center line for NVIDIA. So there's always the opportunity to get that third dip down into lower levels to possibly taper off one more time. And then we'll pay attention to that. And if that confirms, right, this is much more about paying attention and reacting and saying, okay, this is a divergence. We have the opportunity to reverse around. Oh, this is still negative and it just curled down. Okay, this is not the moment. That's what you would say. You would say, this is not the moment. We are going to curl down one more time, right? And then this goes down to lower levels, and maybe we're able to make a more significant divergence for this. And then we see that taper off. We see that confirm. We go, okay, this is the moment where we can see something bigger. And the funny thing about this is you need to pay attention if that is still not having good news and could turn down again, okay? It's going to be very important that we actually see news here, or else we can fool around down here for a long time. But I just wanted to show these things because these are the type of things you do see when there is a chance of a bottom. This would be the lower chance bottom, right? Right now would be the lower chance bottom. What is the higher chance bottom? The higher chance bottom is actually, if you see this curl up, we come back down into this area. This has a higher probability of being a bottom than this first scenario of the 2-hour curling up, but we're going to pay attention to that first scenario. And then the last scenario that actually is more potential to be a bottom at this point too, than say just a 2-hour curling up. That'd be fantastic. But if you get that trap to come down to lower levels and you get down into this type of area, this would actually create daily divergence, which if that happened, you would have daily divergence, 2-hour divergence, and possibly even maybe you make that 30-minute divergence down here as well. So we'll be paying attention to it, but I wanted to run through a few of those things real quick, and then I'm going to quickly go capture the weekly or the daily expected moves for today and put it in the bottom right corner so you can see it for the SPY and the Qs. But I think for me, it was, wow, this is taking longer than I thought. Okay, this is taking longer than I thought. This is very bear market-like. So let's really look at this from that bear market perspective and understand a lot of different things can happen in a bear market, and paying attention to if something is rolling down can matter a lot more in that environment with higher volatility. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go screenshot and get that daily expected move for the SPY, the SPX, the SPY, and the Qs for you down here. Bam, we got it. And now we're going to put that in the bottom right corner. Let's change that. Are we under here? And boom, you have it in the bottom corner there. And we do see, is this what I was doing? Okay, daily expected move. Bam, just so you're aware, that is your daily expected move. So what we're really thinking here is, let's pay attention to all of those scenarios, because those are very likely scenarios to play out over the next few trading sessions. And all of those scenarios are bottoming type things that can happen. So we'll pay attention. But as we get closer and closer to these type of areas and to these type of areas, it's going to start to look very trappy. It's going to look very trappy from this perspective. So the first thing we need to pay attention to is just, do we turn up a 2-hour? And if that 2-hour turns up, if people who took the course, you know, the management of risk, you know, the management of the trade would be, hey, if the 30-minute is able to rotate back down after the 2-hour crosses, that's not necessarily a good thing, right? That overall says lower prices, and we might be making a divergence for the SPY to get to the exact weekly expected move, or that 95% line down towards 502.27. So I wanted to get some good info for you. One thing that we definitely need to happen, I didn't have a lot of time to go over everything. One thing that you do need to happen is the dollar needs to come back. You need the dollar to show a little bit of strength here. And the funny thing is, the reason the dollar is overall going down is most likely because people are going out of that dollar and going into the euro and going out of that dollar and maybe putting it straight into Bitcoin, right? They're putting it in other areas, maybe into gold. And I think gold will top out in the next like week or two. I would say maybe even sooner than that. But is that going to be a major top? It still looks like it could just be a trend top that sees a little bit more of a pullback at this moment. For the time being, for the dollar, you don't have a lot of good things going on. You have like an extended divergence across. You had almost multiple point divergence from here, but it's very extended. You don't have that divergence on, say, your RSI, but you do see how significant it is on the MACD. You don't need both, but for me, as far as it goes, these are less likely to be reversals. So I don't put my money behind it, is how I like to treat it. I wouldn't put my money behind it. There's not enough reasons behind the trade, right? We talk about 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. And there's not enough reasons for me to say like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy UUP, right? Besides the fact that it's at lower levels or something like that, there's no real reason for me to do it like an option play. But for the time being, this still can reverse around the dollar, so I'd be paying attention. Now, it means that you are very likely to maybe see a move and then see another double dip to actually curl that thing back up, right? We do something like this real quick. We actually create it on the RSI for a second. That would be very likely, but we do reverse around with these type of signals. There's just not enough for me to say I want to risk money behind the dollar at this exact moment. Something else we talked about in the video was volatility. Now, we seriously were talking about volatility on the daily chart and saying, hey, if this is going to get really bad, the only thing that volatility is giving you no hints here, zero. The hints it's actually giving is the fact that there's no hints, which means what if we just continue what we're doing right now for volatility, as volatility should be above 40 right now. It should be up in these areas. It is not, which means we are not seeing the same reactions that we normally do from these type of areas. So that tells me a couple things. One, I'm still going to pay attention to. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, because I don't see anything, this has to be a bottom and this is going to be great. No, I'm still going to pay attention to if that daily curls up, we could see something worse. We could see something worse than we've seen. All right, so if that daily curls up, it's not that good of a sign. You're hoping that fades right back down right away. But for the time being, the 2-hour chart does not suggest that the highest probable thing right now is to just see volatility pop off. You just do not have that kind of look. I'm sorry to say it from a seasoned trader. This is not the type of look that you see when you're going to get a massive push in volatility. It could turn into a massive push in volatility, and that's why we'll probably pay close attention to, is the 2-hour confirming down, or are we confirming up on the 30-minute and not creating a divergence? What you need to see if volatility is going to pop off is this thing scream higher. And most likely if that's going to scream higher, that would mean you're getting bad news. So you're in this weird scenario of, do I get an oversold big bounce, right, with no good news? If I get the oversold big bounce with no good news, that's more the bounce that will probably be some kind of rally, some kind of squeeze that then fails, and then you see a downward turn, and then we actually head to extremely lower prices, weirdly enough. That's the crash scenario at this point, right? But for the time being, the actual scenario we're in is if this curls up and it holds throughout this, so, this flagging that's going on here, if it holds and you create a divergence, that's exactly what we could see before this turns down. And that might create a divergence on the SPY, right? So if we see something like that, or if the 2-hour just crosses, those are the two way more likely scenarios to happen here, other than, besides bam to the upside. Way more likely to just make a divergence or just curl down on the 2-hour. And that's just the truth of it. Now, this is exactly what volatility needs to do in order to keep in an upward trend, though, right? Take back the 5, retest the 5, and then see a screaming moment and see some bad news. So it's weird. You're kind of in an environment where bad news or good news is going to dictate which way you go from right now, right? If we just bounce with no good news, be very, very cautious if no good news comes in anywhere in that bounce. Because if you don't see any good news within that bounce, it is very likely to be some kind of trap. But at this moment, we can see that the 2-hour, even if that curled down, right? Because we pay attention to 2-hour charts to see if that's going to pop off and make that daily curl up. Well, volatility does not even have a good look to do that. It really doesn't. You don't have those deep readings in the RSI. You really don't. I mean, you're coming down to these type of areas and you bounce. Okay, we'll pay attention to that, but it's much more likely to see this as potentially some kind of A, B to C kind of move. And we measured that out in the video, and that takes you pretty much down to 20. It takes you past 20. Now, I'm not big on measured moves, but I would say this seems way more likely, or something like this first seems way more likely than randomly seeing this. That would be very random at this point, and that would have to be some random bad news that no one sees coming. Okay, so we're going to be aware of that because we pay attention to those 1% moments, and that's what that would be. It would be, hey, on top of all the bad news we get something even worse. Not just another piece of bad news with tariffs, something way worse. That would be bad. That's where the daily could curl up for volatility, and that's where we go, okay, that is way too much risk to hang on to, and that's most likely when the SPY is going to start to drop more dramatically, so we'll be paying attention. I wanted to run through a lot of these with a clear head this morning, and I'm glad I got a good amount of sleep, and I wanted to do you guys some good today by just saying, let me take a breather on this last night, let me take a breather, let me look at things with a clear head, look at it at night, look at it with a clear head in the morning, and then come up with some stuff. And for now, with that bear market mindset in mind, when you're bottoming in a bear market, these are the type of things I'd pay attention to. And right now we're at step one, we're at scenario one. So we have to watch scenario one, see if scenario two becomes more possible, and then see if scenario two fails and we end up in scenario three. If we start to fail scenario three, that's where big problems can come, and that's most likely where a daily chart for VIX is popping to the upside. US and India close to a deal. Hey, let's hope so. Okay, let me say hi to some people this morning. Welcome. I hope you have your coffee ready. I hope you are ready to trade like water, even though you're drinking a big old coffee this morning. So Justin, thank you so much for being here today. Ta, welcome. The Oakland group, how you doing this morning? Sent from Hunter Biden's laptop. Uh-oh. Don't check those emails. But call him if you want a good time. No. Polar bear man, what's up, how's it going this morning? Not Navin, good morning, and BK, welcome in, those good positive vibes. I know what you're talking about every single time, BK, we love you for it, always bringing the positive vibes. And M-Brew this morning, we're brewing some coffee, ready to gamble some Tesla. Okay, RTV, good morning, welcome in, loving the penguin there in the picture. And the Oakland group put on a nice suit and tie for us this morning. He's taking it seriously. Sunny BK. Sunny, how you doing this morning? It's finally sunny here. It's been raining for days and days and days. We're getting a couple of sunny days, and then it's going to be raining again. Hi from Canada. Hey, I hope you were one of my soccer teammates. My goodness, my Canadian soccer teammates. They were some of the nicest people on the planet. Don, how you doing, buddy? Future House afternoon from Amsterdam. Let's go from Amsterdam. Let's go. Man, call Future House for a good time too, I guess. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that kind of take. And the take there is really what we're describing going through those scenarios is how to trade like water, right? How to really move around these kinds of markets, because people who move will get a lot less beat up. It's kind of like a zombie apocalypse. Who are the people that survive? Are they the people that lock themselves in the house and then zombies crowd around the house for days and they're silent, then they run out of food? No, it's the people that move. The people that move with zombies. The people that move. Those are the ones who usually survive a little bit longer, but they do take some casualties, right? They do have to get some of that, get some of those casualties out, right? It's still bad things can happen, but it gives them a lot more survivability, right? Survivability, right? This is a back and forth kind of game. When you're buying, you want that trade to go right, but if it starts to go wrong, you say this to the market maker, you say this to those people controlling some of this stuff in the background, you say, screw you, I'm not giving you all of my money. I'm not going to sit there and hope that it turns back up. I'm going to understand it's turning back down, and that is my plan to manage risk. And then if that thing turns back up with a good signal again, I'm taking it. You're not going to trick me out of this thing. I know how these things like to move. Boom. What a good time. I'm actually reading a book that takes place in Canada, Don. It's a book about a detective named Garmache or something like that. Garmache, whatever. And he's doing a case on a missing woman who is pregnant and possibly abused by someone. And I was like, wow, this seems interesting. And it was very, very lame for the first 115 pages. I'm just going to tell you right now. It was very lame because it was all about a snowstorm for the first 100 pages. And I was like, dude, get to the story. It finally got to the story and it's getting juicy, but I'm enjoying it. Some of the dialogue is different, but trying to read books more often. And if you want a good book to read during this period of volatility, if this is not a market that you can be successful in and you understand that and you're very accountable with your trading, hey, I got a book for you, and that's called The Psychology of Money. The Psychology of, I do too, Embrew, I really do. I like books that just jump into it, like those thrillers that jump into it. But a great book that jumps right into it, The Psychology of Money. Check out The Psychology of Money. It actually pretty much every single chapter will talk about things that we talk about on this channel, which is fantastic. I'm still long on Bitcoin since Black Monday 2 weeks ago. Well, Bitcoin is that one of the things that's going, why is everyone talking so badly? Why is everyone so scared here? I have triple divergence on the RSI. I have a divergence on the MACD. I'm going positive. Why is everyone so bearish on everything when something like crypto is starting to go boom? Right? What's the big thing for crypto? What's the big thing for Bitcoin at least? Well, 91.8K. 91.8K going to be the support, 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 the support that was broken, and then it turns into what? Resistance and resistance. So now we have to see how we're going to react around here. This is a level where you can see some of those wicks, some of those pullbacks, but we got to see if that's ever able to break through. And something that can really break you through key levels is what? Ooh, daily divergence and triple divergence, triple daily divergence on your RSI. So this is what we were mentioning with Bitcoin, and it continues to head to the upside. And we were like, man, it's really piling up in this area. Watch if that 4-hour confirms. One little fake out, right? One little fake out right here, but boom to the upside. And right on that confirmation, we have headed up ever since. These things can pull back from these type of areas towards that 91.8K, right? So just be aware of that. But Bitcoin looks pretty nice. Gold, that bad boy is just like, hey, that can go higher, but it's very likely to pull back with a mean one. Be careful trying to start a position with gold, right? If you're holding the physical asset, you're very, very happy and you know the game there. But for the time being, if you're trying to start a position with not physical gold, it's potentially a rough time to get in. It is a hard time to be like, yes, that is going to head up. And it's also a hard time to short it. Now, you might have more information with weekly expected moves this week and be able to make some kind of risk to reward decision. Just make sure you understand that that thing is squeezing. And if you're shorting it, that might fuel that kind of squeeze. Now we are at 8:28. I'm going to let the market open up while I go use the restroom and splash a little bit on top of this coffee because it always gets cold and I want it to be nice and warm so we can stay hot during this hot market. All right, guys, be right back. Bottom is not formed. We do not see the bottoming signals formed and confirmed yet. We went through, if you want to click on the video that we just posted this morning and then come back to the live show, it's only about a little 20-minute video. We will be live afterwards. So if you want to check that out, we go through multiple scenarios of how this thing could play out. And these are the scenarios I would pay attention to, exact scenarios I would pay attention to in the next 5 trading sessions. And one of them could confirm today. So you could have a bottoming signal confirmed today, and we just have to watch if nothing goes wrong and make sure there is good news behind it. Be right back, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Got stuck upstairs. You know why? Go upstairs and Ari's playing her music. You gotta dance with baby girl. And hey, guess what? We had a little dance session for a second. I don't make the rules. I just write them down and then enforce them on other people. Okay, I kind of make the rules. All right, so we're getting into this market. Nice little gap up to start the day. We can see that something on the microstructure might be that in this area, this is where we might pull down to actually fill that gap, and then we'll see what happens throughout the day. For the time being, we see that 30-minute crossed up. Not Navin knows what I'm talking about. Not Navin knows what I'm talking about. He's like, you always got to dance. If a baby dances in front of you, are you not going to dance a little bit? Come on, you're not gonna dance a little bit. Come on now. Goodness. Okay, let's go check on some of those signals we were paying attention to. Let's go check on NVIDIA for a moment. Boom! Confirmation, still holding strong. AMD, confirmation, even going to fill that gap, still holding strong. 2 hour, not yet confirmed, right? This is where we pay attention for failure. If that 30-minute rotates down at any point, that would be potential failure happening. One thing to keep an eye on is that housing market is pretty rough. And then also the CPC coming out at a 1.0. So people overall shorting again at a potential very oversold 30-minute low, where you would likely get a reaction to at least retest the 5-day moving average. One thing I'm going to work on is a video. I don't necessarily want to describe it as right now. I will be working on a video. So people who do already have the course, get your login ready. Okay, if you already have the course, and if you have had it for a long time, that's fine. Log back in the next week or so, because we're going to have an update over there and have a little video for you to check out as far as it goes with these more volatile markets, where we're going to be going through the entire bear market for a lot of it and going through those good signals and bad signals and when we had failure, and really just take you through deeper and deeper into that and take it very seriously. I'll have to see if I have a video kind of like that up there already, but I just wanted to give more examples. I feel like as we progress more and more examples, maybe we'll just go over this time as well, right? How we could have treated this market over the last month. These are some ideas that I'm playing with, and I'm going to be putting that out in the next week or so. The law, right? Not Navin. So if anyone's seeing anything interesting out there, I know a lot of people are probably still paying attention to Amazon, right? Amazon, the only bad part about Amazon, it gave up the signal we were paying attention to. Now, can Amazon still bottom out from here? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Look at the 2 hour. Even though it doesn't have divergence, and it's very likely to make that, right? In a bear market, something we'll discuss when we are discussing more volatile markets over in the course is that you always kind of assume it needs to make the 30-minute divergence. That will keep you very, what's the word? Honest, right? Even if the 2 hour curls up right as you get to this 5, if the 30-minute curls down, you want to treat that like, okay, that could actually still go make that divergence first before return up, okay? That's just something we'll discuss further as we see more volatility. But look at the 2 hour. 2 hour divergence, what does that like to do? Curl up daily charts. Why could Amazon be a fantastic play? Well, because Amazon is one of the stocks actually showing daily divergence right now. Daily divergence from this point, you see it right now. It is formed, it is not confirmed, but we do have that 2 hour that could confirm. And if that sees some strength and some good news, you might get a daily to move. And wow, this thing could end up back at 206.24. If we get a move like this thing could be at 206.24 in just a couple of weeks, and that would be fantastic. That would be a great, sizable move, but we know that this could take more time, right? We know that this could take more time, but that could be a 20% move. So we're paying attention. Meta as well, showing the divergence on the RSI for the daily side, but mainly the 2 hour divergence is what we're paying attention to. And Meta actually has the confirmation of 30-minute right now, suggesting it's very possible we do that right now. Always aware of how it can become more complex and always making a plan for if it goes wrong, because we easily could end up seeing a tag down towards that 453. Apple, one thing to go over here is Apple originally had the best, but look at Apple going down to that 95% line, fooling around there pretty much all day yesterday, seeing that curl up and boom to the upside. Let's see if we're going to use that as support. That is your 95% line. And you notice that we are really close to the center line. Watch out for good news today is what the signals are saying for Apple. IWM really held up very well here, still holding almost that flagging coming in still. So if that 2 hour is able to curl up, these are not the correct weekly expected moves. Let's give you guys those because you're nice enough to show up to the live video this morning. Let's give you guys those updated weekly expected moves for IWM. We see 178.06 to the downside, Kaboom. And to the upside, what do we get here? Well, we see 194.90. Oh my goodness. I did that wrong. Damn it. 194.90. Bam. Okay, now we have our little purple lines in the right place, and we know that, hey, okay, where could this run into problems? Right up in here. But for the most part, if this is going to reject, where would that end up? Well, that 178.06, that 178.06, getting down towards that breakout area down in these levels. But look how well IWM has held up. I mean, the SPY and the Qs are down here technically, right? They're breaking this, but IWM holding up very, very nicely. So we'll be paying attention. Alrighty, let's go back over to the SPY and just put it on a 30-minute and chill. Maybe read some chat, maybe hang out with you guys for a split second here. We got to zoom way in. Volatility is so high. It's still like, a weekly expected move every single day. Dance like a dinosaur. No, she listens to a bunch of her Spanish tunes. So what's one of the songs? Like La Vaca Lola, La Vaca Lola, tiene cabeza y tiene cola. Okay, awesome, Suri. Yeah, I wanted to get a fresh view of it. I wanted to get just a take it in at night, sleep on the information that I come up with, look at it in the morning. And when I showed up in the morning, I just took a deep breath and I go, oh yeah, we're in super volatile times. So all of these things are actually very, very simple scenarios to point out. Let's just point them out to people and say, pay attention to scenario 1, scenario 2, and then scenario 3. If all those aren't happening, then you might curl up on the volatility daily chart, and that's where things get really troublesome. Yeah. So I'm thankful that you guys appreciated that. Palantir. Let's go check out Palantir because that thing's been interesting. Actually, didn't Palantir have some interesting news? I thought it was decently good. I kind of want to do something I don't do very often for Palantir because I'm very surprised that this is not some kind of divergence. And what I want to do is I want to extend this out and I want to move it to an hourly chart to extend that time. Oh, yes, there it is. Exactly. Okay. We do see that divergence when you include that extra time. Now, I'm not someone who likes to change around the things I do. If I'm always changing it to manipulate it to look good for my stock that I want to take, that could mean I'm just mixing stuff up and trying to find anything to take a trade. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that the things that I pay attention to are why I take the trade. So me personally, I would not take Palantir, but I would understand in this environment with this type of look, doing something like this for Palantir and suggesting, okay, this stock did well. This stock gave divergence on the hourly at the top with extended hours, and that curled down. And we mentioned it on the 30-minute because that's where we saw it. 2-hour pullback was very likely. Okay. So the other thing is I can use this as a hint if the 2-hour is close enough to the center line where it looks good. But you have to be aware if these things start to rotate down on the hourly because this could be some kind of setup to head lower, right? If this says I am a lower high, by curling down on the hourly, you can head down to fill that gap. And we still have that gap down beneath, so just be aware of that. But I would say that this time is okay, but I personally would not trade it because I want to make sure my exact things that I look for are there, not necessarily just manipulating technical analysis to make it look good and give me a reason where there potentially isn't one based on my trading strategy, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Because if I sit there's a way to make everything look positive. But one thing I would say also is the reason I would pay attention to it this time is because look at where that hourly chart is, man. If that thing just curls up, it says swing trade me. I'm going to take out this high. I'm going to go make a new one or at least come and fill this gap, right? So this could be good, but is it crossed up yet? No. So you don't have confirmation. You just left another gap behind. These things can be problems for it, but I don't think Palantir looks too bad. I just would pay attention if things rotate back down. Yeah, and the 30-minute just crossed. Not bad, though. SPY heading to the upside early on in the day, retail hour, so we're always a little bit weary of an upside move. And if it's just an upside move with no news behind it, the chance for rejection is higher. You think so, Nicholas? I think if it breaks through that 91.8K, I think we could make a weekly turn up for Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin could make a new all-time high. My target for Bitcoin, if we curl up again on the weekly chart, is actually up at 129K. We have one hell of a week in front of us, a very rip around kind of market too. Goodness gracious. At the end of the day, if we get a reversal signal and it ends up proving to be some kind of bottom, we got to say what? We got to say thank you to the charts. Always showing some gratitude, because if we didn't have these charts, what the heck would I be doing every day? I'd probably still be in the marketing game. You know, I'd probably still be making advertisements. Can you look at Mara? Yeah, we haven't looked at Mara in a bit, and I wonder what it's doing with Bitcoin seeing good things. Whoa, nice. Now, if we remember Mara, we did point out the fact that there was potential divergence here, and look at that, it's the same, right? So we were pointing out coin and anything related to Bitcoin, really, and just showing like, hey, this has daily divergence, that has daily triple divergence, this has triple divergence on the RSI and MACD. That's very, very nice. You know what this likes to do for Mara? Oh, not maybe not monthly, just yet, not just yet, right? We got to see the weekly first. A weekly can curl up. Now, what we want to watch for is, do we see some kind of daily weakness in the weekly chart later on, right? Or do we see something amazing and then see that later on? We will still be paying attention to those type of signals. We want to see if this can go positive, but this is very, very good. It means the weekly chart could curl up. And I would say that target in the center of all this business right in here, that 1873, could be very important for Mara to take back. But yeah, daily divergence across the whole thing. Seeing another confirmation, looking at the 2 hour, you're going, okay, this isn't overbought yet. So this would be a great opportunity to go test some key levels, go test up in here, maybe even test all the way up in here before you see that pullback type of scenario. I'm a fan of the show now. Hey, that's great. We like it, Future House. 150 long-term trend by August. Hold on one sec. Bitcoin 150 long-term trend by August, but probably top. So a lot of these things, and we actually broke this down over the weekend by looking at the SPY. We were talking about the daily and just talking about how this is very likely to play out based on what we're seeing if we're able to bottom here, right? It's all on the stipulation of, can we bottom here in the next like week or so? Okay, awesome. We know that. Well, if this would bottom in the next week or so and we see that strength come in, it'd be very likely to see some kind of move that then takes you up to these highs, and then you leak this out into potentially even August or even January of 2026, right? Early 2026 or into, I think it was August, because we'll have to go into it deeper, but I'm very, very zoomed in. But we went over it this weekend, and I think that's how we're kind of looking at markets right now. It's kind of like we see bad things for 2025, but the way that this is behaving right now says pay attention in case we bottom. So if it's saying pay attention in case we bottom, then this probably isn't the big mega crash kind of moment. Now, do I think a big bear market is coming and we're going to see some deeper prices than even this? I think so. I think so. I really do. But I just don't think it's right now, and we're going to pay attention to later on. If it proves to be right now, then you know it'll probably happen. We're going to see that volatility turn up. We're going to go down to these levels, wipe out the divergence that could form, come down into these levels, and then we're going to see probably a bear market rally, right? What you're paying attention to is a bear market rally is what would really send you to lower prices. Nazim, thank you so much for the $3. Appreciate you, buddy. And thank you for those emails over the weekend. Now you guys got me. Someone asked like what songs and stuff, and now I have I miss this channel. Thanks, Nazim. I'm glad you were taking a break though. You did what's best for you, right? Nazim just said, "Hey, I was taking a break. The market's too wild for me." And then you just go, "Hey, that guy's lucky, right?" You're kind of on a good side if you were like, "Yeah, I'm just going to ignore everything for a couple of months." You want to look at Lulu? Let's go check on Lulu real quick. Lulu, I think it was nice on the 2 hour. Yeah, the 2 hour was pretty nice here. And we kind of just did this real quick and we go, oh, that is divergence. Weirdly enough, I know it doesn't look like it, but that is divergence. So this means that Lulu can see the daily chart curl up. What does the daily chart have? Well, it has divergence on the RSI, but it's still very negative on your MACD. So what does that tell us for Lulu? It can see a strong move, but at some point it's going to need that higher low, or at some point it could fail and make a divergence on the daily scale. But with everything you got going on down here, it's very likely, I think, for Lulu to at least try to test 300. And then I think that's where you might see some kind of pullback. You get some strength for a few days, maybe a couple weeks or so, and then you turn back down, people think it's over, and then it just curls back up really, really fast. That would be a great way for Lulu to head higher. That would be a great way to actually get to the next resistance point that you really need to get to keep remaining bullish and bullish and bullish. Lord's at it, what up? Oh, god dang it. I gotta like turn some tunes on or else my headphones are gonna keep clicking in my ear. Give me 1 second. Actually, let's start first, then I'll do that. Start a poll first. Oh, nope, nope, nope. We already did it wrong. Ah! All right, how about this? Do we bottom today? Right? Because we have a signal that we can pay attention to today. Understand if you need to. Watch that video we just went through, or that video we made this morning, right? The video I made this morning, go through that one as well, because that will tell you, we're not saying the market is going to bottom today before I put out this. I'm not saying that is very, 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 very likely. I think it is likely because of what we are seeing. But I understand that this market can easily turn back down and make it more and more complex down here. Okay, so make sure you understand, we're not saying there's exactly, yes, this is 100% the bottom. We're saying today has high potential to be a bottom, and in the next, like, up until next Wednesday, you have high potential to create bottoming signals. And right now you do have those in individual stocks, so if the 2-hour curls up for the SPY, that would be a good thing. Let's start that poll. Do we bottom today? What do you guys think? I would love to hear your thoughts. And then I'm going to turn on some tunage so these headphones stop turning off. I don't know why they're turning off all the time. They never do this, but they've done it like twice in the last like year. But hey, I'm fine with listening to some tunage, you know? Where's my mix? Where's my mix? Yeah, let me get a good mix here. Let's get a good mix. Yeah, we could do this kind of mix. All right, let's do this kind of mix. Thank you to everyone who showed up over on, what was it? It was Rumble. Rumble, right? We're still doing those live streams at the end of the day for Rumble. We will be there later today. Let's rock out today. All right. Tesla earnings will make things very interesting. Let's go back over to the SPY. Things looking pretty good for Lulu at the moment. 2-hour. Confirmed up on the RSI, running into the daily expected move, running into the 5-day moving average. This is something we have to break through, and you know what would break us through? Good news, and we want the rally on good news, right? So let's go into that 30-minute. Now that we know that 2 hours close, see if we get rejected, see if we need to go fill that gap or something like that. Why are we on Rumble now? We're just on there at the afternoon to spread ourselves out. So Nazim, something that's been happening, I don't know if it's a glitch on my system over here, but some days the live stream just doesn't work. I've had a few videos flagged and things like that because we mentioned the DAX and it thinks we're talking about vaccines, so they kind of like clamp down on my video. And so what I like to do is just say, hey, just in case something bad happens over with YouTube, we're still going to be on YouTube. This is where we post everything. Stick around on YouTube. It's going to be our main hub. But we're going to utilize Rumble and give you guys a little bit extra and say, hey, we'll be live for the close every single day over on Rumble. That way you get more information and we can spread ourselves out in case something goes wrong, which something actually went wrong. What, like last week? I couldn't hit the live video. It just kept popping it up and never actually gave my feed to it. So we had to go on Rumble in the morning. So I still think you would need to see a more trend move to the upside, though. China, is it recovering? I think it has been recovering. Yeah, it's been recovering. Like, this is what you don't want to see, though. This is bad for the Hang Seng. This is really bad, actually. Like, this is what you need to do, but they need to see strength now. Like, now. You know, they do not want to lose this again. They lose this again, that's going to be a problem. That says divergence. That says, uh-oh, that daily might just confirm down again before it's even able to confirm up. So that's troublesome for China, right? That means it needs to break through this right now. It needs to confirm up with a strong daily bar, right? Because that is a reversal signal. That's troublesome. And I'm saying it's troublesome. This is still very good. Still very good. You just need that to break through. You don't want to see this. You don't want to see this thing confirming right now. And if you take out this low, then it's a big problem. But are they recovering? Yes, and they're trying to put in that higher low. They need to see strength from that higher low, or else it's at risk of confirming a divergence and being like, uh-oh, uh-oh. Jalal, I think that's just something we're paying attention to, right? We need to watch out for those types, those things that break down after breaking up. But right now we're heading up, so we still got to see it rotate down to be like, oh yeah, this is bad. This is the first curl up on a 30-minute right now. And you just crossed the center line for the RSI, so I would say at least that extension up into these type of areas would be what we're looking for. Oh, is it toss? Same. Anytime she drops anything now, it's a big old uh-oh. And I'm like, uh-oh. Sometimes she just looks at you and says, uh-oh, and I'm like, uh-oh. Oh, God, what does that mean? Oh, sick. Closing stream. Exactly, Nazim. It's to give you guys a further benefit, but also do something that I think is good for the community on the longevity side, which is just, hey, we need a place to stream. We need a place to post videos if we ever get locked down by YouTube or something bad happens to YouTube. Or just maybe people like Rumble better. You know, maybe Rumble takes over. You never know. So it's good for the community. We're still focusing on YouTube heavily, right? YouTube is the priority to get information out there. Patreon is the priority to get information out there, but Rumble will be a backup. Well, GME. Oh, I was waiting for some GME questions. This needs to happen today. You really would like this to happen today. I guess it doesn't need to happen today. If you want to see a big move, you need this to happen today. You keep running into what? The monthly expected move, right? Patreon members, you know what is right at these levels. It is some serious resistance, but look at that 2 hour. If that curls up, you know where you see crazy things, the monthly expected move. You know where you see reversal signals for the more probable thing. That's the more probable thing is you see this. The less probable thing is you wipe this out, this thing starts screaming higher. Squeeze is always the less probable situation, okay? But we're heading into the end of the month, and if you make a big move at the end of the month and you start seeing something crazy, pay attention if this curls up. This is what needs to happen in order to see the crazy moment. You need the 2 hour to confirm up, and you need that to go high, high, high. You need that to start skying all of a sudden, right? That's the truth of it. Is that very, very probable? Well, with this look, you would say it's higher potential, but the more probable thing is to set a trap in these areas towards that 29, towards maybe even 30 at this point. Right, we see a flash move, a wick comes in, and then you see this go bloop, bloop. That's more probable than seeing this thing get a squeeze. But this is exactly what you need to see before a squeeze, is you remain at a key level, and then you break through. Have we gotten the breakthrough yet? We tried and failed so far. No confirmation from the MACD. The mouse, the amount of times we're just like, stop eating things off of the floor. She'll find, we'll vacuum every other day, and she'll find the one crumb out there. It depends on your strategy, money shorts at it. You know, I'm not someone who gridlocks and says, oh, you do something that's different than me, then that's bad. I'm not someone who does that. You have to look at that from your perspective. We can maybe take a look at those at another time when the market's not super, super nuts, right? Oh, shit, Richard, did he? Oh, God. No. Ugh. Oh, yeah. I just read the post wrong. My math was wrong. The 311 days were wrong. Oh, no, I'm not going. I'm not going anywhere. All right, we're going to be here for another hour. Your son was into moths? Jeez. Let's see. Netflix, though. Boom to the upside for Netflix. Got through 1,000. Very important. This is where we said that pullback can happen. You have 2 hour divergence, but look how it goes the wrong way, right? The 30-minute was, or 30-minute divergence, I apologize. The 2 hour, let's see, was this ever able to confirm down? You had one blip and it was a bad confirmation. This is not a signal that says, yes, this is turning down. This is saying, no, this is a fake out. That's what this bar is. It's a positive bar above the 9 while you have crossed on the MACD and crossed down on the RSI. That is not a good confirmation. Understanding what a good confirmation is very important. Very important. We talked about it with GME back in the day when everyone said, oh, this is the moment. We said, the more probable thing is you're going to curl down here. I'm heavily thinking of selling all and putting all into Google stock. If you saw their new AI glass, things are about to get crazy. Ooh, okay, some little AI news there. Very good for Netflix, though. Daily divergence on Netflix. The things with daily divergences are playing out. Bitcoin, Netflix, right? What was the other one? Palantir, I think. Or no, was it Palantir? Or was it like Nike or something? I can't remember. Palantir. It was Palantir. SoFi, still holding, right? All of these things with daily divergence are still good. That's pretty crazy to me. You know what else has daily divergence now? That's at lower levels? Amazon. Amazon. These things start to confirm. It means pay attention. And it means pay attention if things go wrong, right? Very nice for Netflix, though. Looks like a pullback is necessary, but it's booming. It's above 1,000 now. Trying to turn into called the apocalypse by reading the Bible. It's too much, Tin. He got too far into it. Like what is it? You go too deep in it. Like conspiracy is conspiracy. Conspiracy can have some truth to it. That's good. But when you go too deep, then you start to get into the earth is flat. And once you go too deep, you're like, oh shit, man. Can I have your attention, please? I'm time to tap into your tragedy. Yeah, once you go too deep, Dallas, it's kind of like, ooh, it's hard to bring it back because you've built. The hard part is with these type of communities is they built a community on these things, and they have to get more dramatic the more they're wrong. And that's why we just say, pay attention to good signals for GME, pay attention to your risk, pay attention to reward. If something goes wrong, treat it like every other trade. It moves just like everything else. GME moves just like everything else. Every big upward move we've seen so far has a daily divergence. Every big downward move we've seen so far has a 2-hour divergence. 30-minute look pretty juicy along with my other indicators. My question is, should I wait for my main indicator VIX to gap fill or take profit? Depends, right? Where are the Qs at right now? Well, they just gapped back in the monthly expected move. That's good. How long do I have to expiration? There's a lot of things that comes to it. So based on your decision making, are you trying to be a part of some kind of squeeze? Are you trying to take something to the weekly expected move? Or are you just trying to have a nice little day trade? If I'm trying to have a nice little day trade, then anywhere right here is very good, right? Just make it very simple. The money's probably decent. You're almost to the daily expected move. You're very likely to get there. You're very likely to test the 5 and come fill this gap, right? It's just, do we get something else that makes it go past that? And that's what you're going to have to say. Hey, if you're just looking for a good day trade, I mean, you went to a daily expected move and you're on the right side of it. That's great, right? Keep it simple is what my whole thing is there. I'm not going to tell you whether to sell it or not. I'm just going to say, keep it as simple as possible and make sure it is a good thing for your trade. Well, Embrew, I used to be cross-eyed and I took off my glasses and I wasn't cross-eyed anymore, so. Did I hear someone say day trade? Willow, don't get excited. Don't pop the. You're like my husky. Just go. That ear turns. One of his ears turns when he hears the slightest thing. God dang it, Willow. Should wait for the main indicator. Oh, you have 60 plus? See, if I have 60 plus and I'm worried about the environment of the market right now, I still would say this is still an opportunity to make a decision. I think it's still very likely for us to do this, right? It's still very likely to be able to do that. So if this is just a good trade right now, it would mean, hey, is it a good enough trade for me to just break even right now and leave all of it as runners? That way I have no risk in the play. And if this just confirms back down, I just go, okay, now I take profit and I'm able to make a little bit of money off it. And then I say, okay, that's going to come down to here. And this is where the big trade is, right? If you're positioned 60 days out, the game is a lot different for you, right? The game is a lot different for you. You're really looking for, can the 2 hour confirm up today? That's what you're looking for. So it's all up to your thinking. I would say you're at a decision-making area where if the money is good, then you can make a decision, right? That's what I like to do. If the money is good and I can break even and still have a bunch of contracts, that would be fantastic. Yeah, but the cues are there, so. Or 23.75. I mean, pretty much just paying attention to the bottom of this wick, probably the bottom of this candle in some way. Last time we called the bottom on FET. Yeah, we haven't looked at that for a bit. This looks like a 30-minute pullback right away. 2 hour created that floor with a higher low for the 30-minute. Didn't even cross down. Very nice. Daily chart curls up. You're feeling a lot better. Right now, it's just turning down, turning down, turning down. No confirmation of upside. So if the 2 hour is turning down, that's bad. If the 30-minute can turn up, you have a chance of seeing something good. You cut through this very, very quickly. I guess you would just pay attention to here still. So if that 30-minute curls up, what you're looking for is not this, right? You don't want this and then fail on the 30-minute. You don't want that. That's bad. What you want is this to not make a divergence, go see a good move, get all the way up to 17, maybe pull back, and then you can start to rebuild this slowly over time. This looks pretty good. Yeah, weekly scale still able to go positive, and weekly potential divergences down at the lows. Not bad. They're not exact divergences, right? Because they're not reaching the same point, but they're close. So this means a big move could be coming for FET if things remain good, right? As of right now, turning down. If the 2 hour crosses down, that means negativity, right? So now I know the plan for if it's going to go wrong. Hey, this weekly looks like it's a good hold. But for the short term, depending on how long I want to hold on to it, if the 2 hour crosses down, that would most likely mean lower prices. And then you'll see if that 2 hour divergence pops up. And then with that 2 hour divergence, you have a lot better information like, hey, the daily is very likely to curl up now. You're the future in the world today. All the little girls have it in the world today. AMD looks good. AMD looks good, right? We have confirmed 30-minute divergence. We are not seeing the extreme strength yet, or maybe not at all. But as of right now, you have a 30-minute divergence that confirmed. That means that we could see some strength to the upside, but this is heavily dependent on good news, okay? If we just get an oversold bounce, then this will fail. That's how this market is. We have not seen the good news to prop us up higher. So for the time being, you have 30-minute divergence on both. This looks very, very good, and it is very significant for the RSI. That is all good things. This is all what you see during a higher low, right? You get some hints. This is what you see before the 2 hour curls up again, and you try to go test these levels of 97, all right? But it doesn't mean that's 100%. You have to make sure this is still going right. It's not even positive yet. So if this goes up and then curls down, it's very likely to go see lower prices again. And you do have a gap way down there. So don't think that that's impossible. But what you are seeing right now is what I like to call, as it is a divergence in negative territory, I would call this a bullish contrarian signal. This means, as a bullish contrarian signal, that even though it looks really bad right now, you have the weakening in momentum, which means you have a chance to flip around the trend and take back the 5-day moving average. No one is paying attention to these things. A lot of people are talking about the next big drop, the next big drop, the next big drop. And we are too, but let's pay attention to the first scenario of the day. The first scenario of the day is the 30 minutes able to curl up and then never curl back down, right? It can do this, it can fool around. We just don't want it to curl back down into negative territory. And then what do you want to see? That 2 hour say, yes, I am going to be your attempted higher low. And the other part to that is we need news, right? There's a lot to it in this environment. Oh, god dang it. Yeah, this happens every time. I get you. I know. Is this? No, that's not it. Yeah, that's it. I know, it happens every time. So we got to extend the hours out here, and you'll notice the 2 hour is still looking very, very nice. Still looking very nice. Now, what I would say is watch out for divergences from now on, right? Because you got the big push, then you see that curl down. If you see this and it's weak and you see that divergence, watch out. That means it could reverse down and pull back a little bit more. As we pull up the bigger time frame, we'll start to see the 4 hours up there and it's crossed. So if you get this, you might not even get this. The 4 hour saying pulling back is more likely, and I like to pay attention to the bigger time frame, right? Whatever the bigger time frame is saying, I'll pay attention to a little bit more. We could see one of those 2 hour pushes that curls back down, but the 4 hour is suggesting we might have more work to do here. So we'll find out. Where would that test? I'd really like a test of, let's just say flat 50 cents. I think 50 cents would be very nice. You come down into this type of area, somewhere in this block, you would have to draw it up like this, right? Create a little zone for yourself. And then if that 4 hour is able to confirm up at some time, hey, if it's here, awesome. You want that thing to blow off to the upside. You don't want to see divergence on the 4 hour. But pulling back more would reload you at lower prices to be able to see that extend down to the center line and then curl up. And that's where you could see a potentially better move, right? So there's a lot to go off of here. It looks like for now, pull back, pull back, pull back until we see that change. Daily chart just went positive, so pullbacks are perfectly fine. And this is good to pay attention to as well if we're going to see something deeper. Look at that neckline that was kind of there. Breakdown area, a nice wick right here. Okay, so we had this. We never created this over here, this right shoulder. So that means we could make the right shoulder that could have been come down into like a 45 and then see that thing curl back up. This would be fantastic as far as getting like a good opportunity, right? This is kind of something that you're aware of. It seems less likely with what we're seeing right now, but maybe if you asked in a few days, we would see more price action and understand if that's a big possibility. For now, it just looks like 4 hour pullback, which means I'd be paying more attention to that 50 cent area, which actually pulls you down into here. So maybe right shoulder that could have been is very probable there. We messed up the first time. How's that one? How's that one? That was more like it's pulling back with time right now, pretty much. How was that in universal code? I was gonna say, I don't remember that chart too much. I like milk took profit. I like milk light. Never mind, PCC is shooting down. These calls are being liquidated pretty soon. Yeah, you're in the neutral area. We'll see once that crosses 0.8. But you are correct, right? You're making the best decision that you see with the information in front of you to you, and that's perfectly fine, right? And I like that you're excited about it. You should be excited. You get to make some money. That's great. I thought you knew. So now we'll see if those calls are going to fade. We're going to see price action be able to close below that 9. Excuse me. I'm going to do a little coffee chug here. Oh, God, 50 cent. Yeah, thank for something. Yeah, I guilty or something. I like how gold's just hanging in there. I know, just hanging in there. It's like that little cat poster that people get. Hang in there. It's that little cat hanging. On the church dead. You have reversal signals on the 30-minute, flat on the 2 hour. I think fill of that gap towards 297, 298 for GLD makes a lot of sense from these areas. Oh, okay, this is something we were reading into as well last week. HGX, 2 hour, trying to confirm right now. HGX, the housing sector, very, very important. I use home builders. I use the housing sector here. The HGX, I use this for some direction, some directional hints, right? Because we noticed that housing was dropping for a long, long time here. A long time. Made a double top right here. Made all the topping signals up here. and then we turn to the downside. What does it create? Well, if it creates a higher low here and it confirms it, we can see the HGX see an upward trend. Now, I think housing won't recover completely. I do not think housing will recover completely, just to be 100% with you guys there. I don't think housing is going to a new all-time high. I'm fine with being proven wrong. All right, daily expected move coming up. Your TA's on point. Hey, thank you, Universal Codes. Remember, things can go wrong. You can't be right 100% of the time. It's just impossible. But if you're ready for the scenario that looks very likely how you would be wrong, then you'll be in a way better spot and you'll lose less money. You'll take profit more often. And that's a great thing. Can you help me set up a couple of indicators? Yeah, which ones do you want? If you just want what I have, really, all you really need is if you can get these weekly and monthly expected moves on, click on indicators, MACD, click that on, just use basic settings, good stuff. Click on this, type RSI, basic settings, click on relative strength index, boom. Then you'll get this, basic settings are perfectly fine. I believe that's what I use. And then if you wanted more stuff, you'd have to add in these moving averages, but SMA, perfectly fine to have just a 5-day SMA. If you want to get that on your chart, all you have to do is go up here, type SMA, simple moving average simple, click on that bad boy right there. And then you go into the settings, change those around. Hey, time frame, this is going to say chart. You want to change that to 1 day. And then I do it so it does not wait for the time frame close. Boom, you have everything. And if you need to go into this a little bit slower, we do go through that in the course and stuff like that, but just ask again, okay? We just need to be paying attention to market moves. All right, Jar, yeah, and you can slow that down to half speed if you need to, okay, buddy? Like I said, here to help, not here to hide things and keep them behind paywalls and do all this. If you ask a question, I'll most likely answer it to the best that I can. We can go more in-depth in the course, more in-depth on Patreon. And if you're part of Patreon, you knew what we were looking for here. Flooded the entire city of New Orleans and even surrounding areas. Wow, what is their drainage look like? My goodness. Here it rained like crazy. It's beautiful out, and then Easter weekend, it just, man. Here comes the 2 to 3 to the 4. A little bit of hope is good. Too much hope is very, very bad. Hope while your trade looks good is a good thing. Hope while your trade looks bad is not a good thing. I have no idea, Embryo. If you guys wanted to expose me for what I'm really stupid at, that would be geography. And if you have too much hope in something, you might have risked too much money. It could be a position size problem as well. Respect a small amount of money and you will learn how to, if you're a good trader, right? If you respect a small amount of money and you become a big, here's the deal. If you don't respect money and you catch a 1 in a million trade, let's say one of those guys, let's just use an example. Let's use those Reddit examples. There are those people who make crazy bets and they end up being right out of pure luck. And that's great. We love that for retail people. That's awesome. You won the lottery. But the thing that they always run into is once they make $1 million out of $5,000, well then, they start to bet with $1 million. And then they end up losing all of it again. If you respect a small amount of money, you are very much so more likely to respect a big amount of money. We'll call us till Friday. We'll roll them at 355 if I have to. All right, not Navin. That's the plan. Be honest with the risk of that plan. I'm not talking badly about it. Don't think I'm talking badly about it because I bring up risk, right? Just understand the risk that you are assuming in a trade. Understanding the risk you're assuming in a trade is just a basic thing you have to do. What am I risking by taking this 30-minute divergence from NVIDIA? Well, I'm taking the risk that it could fail. Right now, it is going good. I hope it goes better. I hope it keeps going. I hope it doesn't roll down, right? This is the time that hope is good. And then this is the time where if that curls down, if this curls down on the MACD and I'm still hoping and it keeps going down and I'm still hoping and it keeps, that's where hope is bad, right? This starts to go like this. It curls down on the MACD. Oh, I'm hoping, I'm hoping, I'm hoping. That's where it's bad. We should react. Reacting is always better than sitting and just hoping. I calculate the risk and left 2x in cash reserves. Perfect, not nav. And then you're tackling it, I think, in a good way for you, and that's fantastic. Then last to admit I need a hand to hold, losing hope, headed down a dangerous road, strange and no, but I feel most at home when I'm Sorry guys, when I play tunes, I can't help it. I'm a singer. My bad. Not a good one. I'm in a 523 put. Daily expected move would slightly agree with you here. Q's actually went directly towards it, and that's where we see the resistance come in. So we're remaining in those moves. We did leave a gap behind. Gap fill still very possible. Right, the gap fill won't have to turn down the 30-minute. Oh, there's that Patreon link poking up down there in the chat. It's also in the description, but it's right there in the chat if you want to get some weekly expected moves. Guess what? We're heading into the end of the month already. This is a great time to join. You know why? Because we'll give you monthly expected moves, and wow, have monthly expected moves in that second standard deviation been so freaking helpful. My goodness. It can help any strategy, even if you're a day trader. It can help any strategy having a monthly expected move to understand what this market is doing on a little bit bigger scale. But my goodness gracious, was it helpful? It was. My day trade fingers getting itchy. Where's the fun account, Richard? I just can't imagine. I was happy. Alex, I saw you comment something earlier. Did I miss it? I feel like you commented something. Usually you just... the Key and Peele sketch. Oh, the Key and Peele sketch. Yo, I used to watch those all the time. Funny stuff. I like the Halloween, the clown one, the Jigsaw, the Saw one. Where he's like, I'm going to take your legs. He's like, you know what? God, well, I'm not going to be walking often, and this is just dead weight. Go ahead and take them. Like, I love that. That skit is so good. Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh. 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 We've got some Duality by Slipknot playing. Some big stuff happens when we turn on that song. Let's see if it's bad or good. All right, I'm going to keep my eye on some things over on the other charts. 2 hour not confirmed for Amazon. 2 hour not confirmed yet for NVIDIA. 2 hour not confirmed for AMD. I don't trust AMD with any of my money personally. But we do see those divergences confirmed, so we're just being patient. Good Lord. IBM. Check it out on my other charts real quick. IBM still positive. If you want to see IBM, I think we did this last week, but we were finding that point. Okay, 233 right on the dot, very important. Oh, bam, we go right down to it. We're still positive. Look at that. This could be the first real big push. This is the push that gets you to 250. Remember 250-50? Because I said 250-250 last week. 250-50. This would be great. Let's go. They drive the clown crazy. Exactly, Alex. I love that one. Hey, earnings might throw this thing for a loop, though, man. Got to be careful around earnings, guys. Position size will be everything with earnings, okay? Got to make sure not to be risking more than you're comfortable with. Liberate the skin from bone. Bitcoin going mad. Let's go. IWM breaking through 188. We'll look over here. Leave it on the SPY for now. Ooh, yeah. If Bitcoin breaks above 186.50, that's very, very good. Patreon members, you know why. And since we're at the end of the month, I mean, it's just very cool. But for now, you're just going, hey, does the 2-hour confirm up for IWM? That'd be great. If it doesn't, then the 30-minute might roll, and that would be a problem. You can end up down to 173 pretty quick. I'm into that Bitcoin. Let's go, Toronto. I've got is insane. Tesla earnings play, not the type to do that. No. Tesla, we can go over technicals with Tesla and look at it and be like, okay, but for the most part, this is still on the stipulation of we need the 2-hour to curl up here. And if earnings goes wrong, that's going to be we have no idea what they are going to say. We have no idea. No idea. Zero. We are not insiders. We have no idea what information they're going to do. We have no idea of forward guidance they're going to give. So it's very hard to tell. That's why if you're seeing something good in the technicals, position size is going to be very, very important. Right? We are not someone who's going to lie to you like other YouTubers and say that we know exactly where Tesla can go on earnings. That's just the truth of it. This could easily head up. This could easily head down. 50-50 shot. And what do we like to say? I like to say this. Tesla, if you take calls, if you take calls on Tesla, all right, calls. All right, you have about a 47.5% chance of being right. Oh, that's $1. That's still $1. That's still $1. There we go. 45%, 47.5% chance of being right. Right down here, you have a 47.5% chance of being wrong. Right? 47.5% chance of being wrong. The only people who probably get this exactly right are what? The 5%. The 5% that do what? That know what's coming. AKA what? Insiders. That's earnings in a nutshell. It truly is. It's probably a few people know what's going to happen because they have more information than you do, but you don't have that information, so you have a 47.5% chance of being right. You have a 47.5% chance of being wrong. And if you knew that information, well, this 5% also says, what if these guys know that nothing is going to come and you're going to get IV crushed? And it just sits in here. That's the truth of it. I'm sorry. I'm an honest guy. I'm a very, very honest person. I will not lie to you. I will give you the information that I actually believe. And this information is earnings is a 50-50 flip. And guess what? If that person gets it right, I would highly suggest not assuming that they got it right on purpose. It was luck. Just saying. No expected moves for Bitcoin. I used to try to make them for BITO or one of the ETFs, but that proved to be not helpful. I'll put it that way. So you're saying there's a chance. All right, Alex. Oh yeah, futures can be a different thing because you'll see movement, but it's when it opens the next day, that's when people kind of, with their options, actually get into some trouble. But that's the truth of earnings, and I'm an honest guy. Sorry, boys and girls. I don't want to say boys and then Jonna says, hey. Or Tina says, hey. What's for lunch today? I haven't decided, you know? We haven't decided. My mother-in-law still made me that ceviche. So maybe I'll have some ceviche. I have a big old bucket of ceviche upstairs now because the girls don't like ceviche. I like ceviche. And so my mother-in-law likes it too. And every single time I go over there, she goes, I made ceviche for you. So I get a full big bowl of ceviche once a month. Freshly made. Straight from an Ecuadorian. JP Morgan is a very good hint too, though. If this is really some kind of collapse, well, that financial is holding up very, very well. Why is Bitcoin going crazy? Because it had triple divergence on the daily scale, universal codes. Triple divergence is not something you mess with. Which means the fact that it made that divergence and now it's seeing strength means people were buying while telling you things were awful. Did you pay attention to what just happened in front of you, or did you listen to the narrative going on? That's kind of how it is, you know? My GPA. Your GPA is? I thought you said GPA. I was like, what the hell does that mean? Hey, that's awesome though. Yeah, I've got to eat some things that I've never eaten before in the last few years, and it's a lot of fun. I like to try new food. Do you think SPY will go higher than 524? It is a 32% chance to see it go higher and close higher by the end of the day than 524. Right? The higher percentage is you're going to fool around in here or see a drop. That's why we're paying attention for something unexpected, like some news. Unexpected would shoot this higher. You can violate this, but by the end of the day, you know, we got a gap up there. You can violate this, but by the end of the day, it's 68% chance to land between these red lines. That's why your daily expected moves are in the bottom right corner. Oh, pop it. What, MSTR? Why are we down? Everything here was positive. Oh, you're reading into maybe the divergences. I mean, there is 30-minute, there is 2-hour, but you got to understand, like, hey, the 30-minute curled up just now, and it's violating all those divergences. So if you're lucky here, this gets a pullback. This gets a pullback, right? If you're lucky, this gets a pullback. And this is the area where you're hoping to get lucky for that, right? I'm guessing that since you're losing, you took a play to the downside. I would heavily suggest if you see daily divergence on triple divergence, especially on the RSI for Bitcoin, if you see daily divergence for Bitcoin, just take a little sticker and put it over your screen over the short button, okay? Because more times than not, daily momentum will take over with triple divergence. It is a huge reversal signal, okay? Triple divergence is not something to fuck around with. Just be honest with you. I'm sorry. But now you're violating a lot of things here. So if you get lucky, that could pull back. But now this is kind of the hopium kicking in, right? This is the hopium, not this is the opportunity potentially to react and understand, hey, this could pull back right now, but it's going to be on your individual decision making if you want to wait for a potential pullback or if this thing just screams higher and you're going to lose money, right? If you're short on MSTR. That's just the truth of it. Right? The truth of it is, if you see a reaction and it confirms up on the 30-minute, that was the plan going wrong, right? That would be my plan going wrong, at least for this trade. 30-minute curls up, that's bad. I probably would have been on a 15. Did you get a 15 to curl up before? Let's see if this told you that this plan went wrong for that 30-minute trade. Boom, right here, right here. This right here, 317.99, 318. That's where it said, hey, this plan's going wrong. Yeah, it just means with a 30-minute divergence, you have to be pretty quick. If you're not a quick person, if you're not quick to react, if you're better to hold on to things that are going wrong and you're, you know, more of a hopium kind of guy, just understand that, be accountable and shout that out to yourself and then say, I need to extend out the time frames to a 2-hour. And the bad part is the 2-hour confirmed up here, right? Or the 2-hour confirmed down, right? 2-hour confirmed down saying, hey, I potentially have a divergence as well, but it's not even overbought, right? It's not the best looking thing. So what do you need to do with a 2-hour? Well, if the 30-minute curls up and you notice the 30-minute curled up, and now you would potentially be getting out at 338. So try to get better at those 30-minute trades, right? Try to get better at managing risk on a 30-minute trade because that's the 15-minute right here. Told you, you know, no. Right here, the 15-minute said up is the direction. And where is it? It's starting to go positive at the end of that day, right? It's going to be a problem. This is just a test of the 5 is all I see, right? It's a test of the 5. Yeah, sure, that could break down, right? But as of right now, it curled up. That means that as it's this. If a MACD's curled up or curling up, am I going, yeah, I want to short this? That's it, right? Now, I think that this could see a pullback. That's perfectly fine. It's just, I think you have a decision to make on, am I going to wait for the pullback or am I going to react right now? You don't want 27% to turn into 50%, to turn into 60, to turn into 75, to turn into it's worth a buck or it's worth a penny. So I can't tell you what to do. I think you're at a decision-making moment and you got to do what's best for you. And understand the risk that you take, right? The risk is you potentially get a pullback. If you manage risk now, it's like, okay, we get a pullback. I could have made some of that back, but it's too risky for me to hold maybe, right? I do tend to hold too long. Yeah, so just get a little quicker with it, okay? Get a little quicker with it. Because if you're trading MSTR and you see triple divergence on Bitcoin, I would put a sticker over that short button. GME buying Bitcoin is still goofy in my opinion. Yeah, well, then what about MSTR? What about every country? What about every country that's bought Bitcoin? You know, a lot of places have bought Bitcoin. It's just people think it's weird when GME does it, I guess. What's weird to me is GME is not seeing that much upside, while MSTR is up what? 7%. So what GME needs to do is post a buy for Bitcoin. GME needs the CEO to say, we have purchased Bitcoin at this number. Here's, that would really help out the stock to understand like, oh, okay. That would give investors kind of a guidance of what's going on with GME. Because I don't think they've really posted like a specific buy that they have made. I guess that's something I can't hide. You think 100K today? Is it Bitcoin really going that nuts? No, it's not even past our line, guys. It's not even past that 91.8. Once it blows past, if it blows past 91.8, hell yeah, let's freaking go, dude. But until that moment, I'm going to be saying pull back anywhere in this area towards 91.8K. Anywhere in here, I'm looking for a pullback. Sometimes it gets too late to get out. Sorry, I gotta get this back to regular here. How much, if any, do you think Ryan Cohen bought for GME? What was the statement? Is it something that you hide? Okay, so add to the crypto reserve. Didn't they post something about a number? The net proceeds from the offering were $1.48 billion after deducting the initial purchaser discounts and commissions and estimated offerings expense payable by the company. The company expects to use the net proceeds from the offering for general corporate purposes, including the acquisition of Bitcoin. So best case scenario, that with the information that we have, a $1.48 billion purchase of Bitcoin. But it does say it's for general corporate purposes. So I expect a number lower than that. But you would say a maximum that you would expect, like to the max, would be 1.48 billion. Tomorrow's a 9-day. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I always have to look up those type of things. What the fuck is it? Is that like body weight stuff? Let's see. Pull ups, chin ups. Yeah, it's the prison workout. That's the prison workout. And those guys get jacked. Very safe working out too, by the way. Very safe. Like if you have some rusty bones, some injuries, maybe like me, you have injuries from soccer and stuff like that. Maybe not soccer itself, but very good for that body weight stuff. Very nice. Meta giving it up for the time being. Amazon still looking pretty good. Meta giving it up for the time being. We'll see. Not heard a kitty roar in a while. My opinion is better for strength and training than weights. It's a very I think it's the most healthy way. I would be willing to say that. You would pop a shoulder for sure. No, I do pull-ups. I have to do pull-ups and stuff like that. I have to hang and all those kinds of things. I have to strengthen the micro muscles in my shoulder. That's what sucks. Hanging and things like that are what strengthen those muscles. Hanging, farmer walks, rotator cuff. Going back to my emo days with the tunes right now. Still in negative territory for this 30-minute. Just be aware of that. Just cut it off. Yeah, just cut it off. You don't need it. I'll just learn how to click with my left hand. Well, weirdly enough, I slightly dislocated my left and I've dislocated my right. I blame my parents. Yeah, it's great. Especially if you're doing it nice and slow, right? Short Fridays, nice and slow. I just have no arms. How would I be a no? I'd have to like tell my charts what to do, like with my eyes maybe. I'd have to like look at things. That'd be sick. Pull you by your shoulders as a kid or something? No, I'm just saying like they gave me bad genes. I'm one of the most athletic people out there, and but my shoulders are garbage, and I work out all the time because of it. Oh, Richard, you're a dad. It's out, Donna top it's out. Boom. Looks nice. AMD still trying to like almost just get this like 5-minute thing going on. 5-minute little flagging happening there. Volatility, 2 hour. Oh, we're close, boys. If we get good news right now, I'm telling you right now, if we get good news right now, this will be nuts. And Bitcoin is suggesting that something is happening. If scenario 1 plays out, awesome, awesome, awesome. We love scenario 1. We also love scenario 2 and 3, right? Yeah, it either smells like pizza. It smells like Domino's pizza upstairs, and I know we don't have Domino's, so I'm kind of worried. Maybe I should drink some water. Am I having a heart attack? Am I too excited about this 30-minute curling up to that daily expected move and the potential for good news right now? Maybe. Log on for the day. Keep watching your charts though. Later, everyone. I like milk. Congratulations on the little trade you got there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Have a great day, my friend. I was telling you she's bored, and you say, "Hi, bored. I'm dad." Oh, I already do that now to my wife. That's not going to be good. If we get, it depends on the news. If you get good news, the only thing you should expect, right? If the market expects potential slightly good news, right here, 547.87. And you see a very easy area, right? If we're going to cut that short, cut that short, cut that short in some way, very easy area right here. Okay? If that news is unexpected by the market, there's 2 points to pay attention. Right here, 566, and right here, 577, 576. Right? If that news is so good that it's going to prop through these things and it wasn't expected, this is where we would look for it, 567 and then 576. Looks like an equal bottom almost. Yeah, so we would say gap fill towards this area is probably the most likely area to pay attention. Unless it's just insanely good. I don't know what insanely good news would really look like. China's folding. Everyone makes a deal at the same time. That'd be crazy. Smelling burnt toast, me too. Good vibes in the chat today. Hey, big thumbs up for you guys. Big strong arms for you guys. Big smiley faces for you guys in the chat, all right? Big, big, big smiley faces for you guys in the chat because you guys are being fantastic today, and I love to see it. Trump says, April Fools on tariffs. That already happened with the pause. That already kind of happened with the pause. Money shorts edit. Market going crazy while they don't realize we are getting tariffed by everyone. Yeah, the market goes nuts on the fact that we're not going to be tariffed anymore. Like, that would be so funny. I'm down. Give me the triple dip. Give me the dip on good news. I'm down. Even if we dip on good news, hey, pay attention to the same exact scenarios. I went through this morning with a bear market heavily in mind, and I said, this is how I'm going to talk about it. And if you need to see all of those scenarios, go look at the video from this morning. I just posted it out there. So it literally says on it April 22nd, just so we're very clear. So yeah, the good part about weekly expected moves is they're probably expecting some potential good news, and now we have a place to pay attention for that. And if we're able to see something unexpected, then there's two very obvious points to get to. What do you mean by the statement, AS? I just want to hear your thinking. Too many things to revert from the President of the United States, Powell, and China. What do you mean? Are you saying it's kind of like, oh, it's impossible for us to see like great news? Sell the news? I can tell you one thing. Sell the news doesn't look a lot like this over time. Sell the news does not look like this. Right? If you're saying sell the news is going to happen down here, usually a sell the news happens like here, and then you see one more push, and then it drops. Just so you're aware, right? I'm just poking the bear, if you will, but just having a conversation. I just want to hear your thinking about it. Like, do you think that means, oh, it's going to be just there's no way that we're going to see good news at least produce upside for a long period of time? Ooh, please, day. So risk is on the upside? Risk is on the upside. The reward you're saying is to the downside. I poke a bear all the time. It's called my daughter. Sometimes you poke her, she likes it, and then you poke her too much, and she goes, wah! Stop tickling me. So risk is on the upside? Well, I think you're correct. If you get no good news, then yeah. But if you're saying that good news in this environment will not cause upside, leave yourself that 1%, right, AS? Leave yourself that 1%. Even if it looks grim, leave yourself the 1%. Just in case you see something that contradicts you just a little bit, all right? Like I said, I want you to be successful. I want you to be right. Whatever you're doing, however it can happen for all of us to be right, I would love for that. But let's pay, something about being right can also be acknowledging when you're wrong. And I'm not saying you're wrong, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just pay attention. If, give yourself that 1% guy that says, hey, well, if this crosses up here, that kind of contradicts what I'm saying for now. You could be right in a little bit. You could just be seeing a bigger dead cat bounce, right? But I highly doubt Powell gets fired. Highly doubt it. But he might. You never know. But I highly doubt it. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that can happen. Legally, I don't know. But I would say he has a term, so he'd most likely have to resign. Get good news now. My goodness. That would be insane. Get bad news now. You're seeing the second scenario play out. That's the truth of it. Get bad news now, or just get no news and this thing sells off and day traders take hold and this just holds as resistance as we cross through this area and pile up. Okay, then this scenario becomes on the table. Foul fired ain't good news. Oh, I wasn't saying it was, but we don't know if it is good news or not. I would say that people would read into it as bad news, yes. But we can't say that with a definitive tilt. We can't say that good, right? What you're saying is correct. We can't be definitive that good news will be good news for the price of stocks, right? It's the same thing you're saying, just in the opposite direction as well. I'm thinking of it both ways. The main thing for me is just, does the 30-minute curl down today? When I make it simple, I can pay attention to all this other stuff, or I can just go, what's the thing I actually care about? Is it worth the stress? Is there divergence on the 2 hour? No, not for the SPY. There is a 2 hour higher low that could form right now. This is why I put out the video this morning. Now, you do have forms of 30-minute divergence in certain areas. You have 30-minute divergence here. You have 2 hour divergence here for Meta. Now, you don't have 2 hour divergences in these, but you do have the potential for a higher low for something like NVIDIA with a 30-minute divergence. AMD, 30-minute divergence. God damn, freaking hiccups. So there are some signals out there. Amazon, 2 hour divergence and daily divergence. I mean, if this is going to say like, hey, maybe even double bottom at this point, I'll take it from the lower point, right? And take it to a lower point. I don't like measured moves. 206, that's taking the low and the low. That's a lower high and the low, like the lower side of these wicks, not even going down to here, right? Not going down to here. And that's 206. So big things can happen if you cross through these levels, I think. Oh, you have divergence on small cap stocks too, right? You have divergence on the dollar. It's not the best divergence. We want to see if it's a little bit better later on. Not in your life and that man walking tonight. This is what you start to see at the beginning of a secure opening. We just got to make sure nothing goes wrong. We break it through 524. Damn, just crash. Man, the way people trade, not trying to be a pet, I'm just like, man, sometimes the way that people trade is crazy to me. Going shorting Tesla, rest in peace to you all. Let's go, Dallas. Heard that those housing prices in Dallas are getting chopped. Zillow even coming out. That's right, I watched my boy. I watched my little real estate guy that I like to watch. And he was talking about Zillow giving bad projections for 2025 as far as housing prices in cities like Dallas. Even though I know that's probably your name, but check Netflix, trying for all-time high. Yeah, Netflix with the daily divergence able to break through 1,000. 1,000 was the level to watch, and we broke through it. Very nice. We talked about how the trade went wrong. This was a great explanation of how to manage risk, how to manage your trade. 30-minute divergence, I take the short. Okay, this curls up on a 15-minute. Boom, I'm out, right? That's going against my trade. You need to learn more about that. That's why the course is 80% off. We're not mentioning it too much because, hey, you know, it's on sale for a little while here. So you have time. You have time to learn here on YouTube. But if you want to put things together very, very quickly with what we talk about here, it makes it much more obvious. 1K was my break point, pivot to exit, and sidelines. I think it's great. I think it's still in the area where pullback makes sense. VIX lost the 5-day. I'm going to check that on my other screen. Meta starting to see a little bit of life there. Amazon, how we do it? Amazon looks great. Solid push. Probably some light volume. But VIX, we want to see if that curls down on a 2 hour. You need to see the next 2 hour bar is very important volatility. So this is where pullback is heavily likely. Another drop down is very likely. You're by the center line for the SPY. We're very zoomed in. Let me zoom out. Okay, look at your MACD and tell me that that is positive. Because if you do, you're wrong. That is negative. And so if this is going to turn down right now, Kalani's probably hoping for that, but we'll see. We're seeing some great things from Bitcoin. And the next 2 hours in the market will really matter. Perfect, Money Shorts Edit. I couldn't say it better myself. The best way to make money is make little money grow. It's all about control and patience. Focus on what you can control. If this is good money here, there will be another trade setup once you have some patience. I could not say it better myself. What is it, Money Shorts Edit? The thing that I like to say. You want to get rich quick in markets? All right, do it the slow way, because that's the get rich quick scheme. That's the real one. That's not the scheme, right? Do it the slow way. The slow way is the fast way. And then every now and then, when you have a great trade, you can load a boat or two, right, Richard? And then that's where we click over to lottery stocks and then make our. No, we do not. We do not do that. Okay, sometimes we do, Richard, but sometimes we have fun with it. I mean, that's why your percentages just get immediately better from investing to day trading. Your percentages of getting rich are way better investing than day trading. It's just the truth. So if you can extend the time out a little bit and you can find where you're skillful at, that time frame you're really good at, boom, good things can happen. But I would always be paying attention to the management of risk. One play he mentions today, just to see which one. Richard, tell me which one so I can go look at it on my other charts. Nothing to fear the end, cause I know I didn't just live. I was up live. All right, Tesla. Let's go, Tesla. Do your thing, homie. Hey, Stephen Lang, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Appreciate you being here. Don't know if he joined from the video we posted this morning or if he's here in the live chat, but welcome, Stephen. If he comes in here, make sure to say hi, buddy. I'll have to watch the video. Well, let me know, Richard. I'll take a look at it. See if we see anything potentially good. Two rules that keep me honest and it hope it helps others out. Perfect. Yeah, we love people sharing what helps them. There are no certainties in trading. The 1%, 99%, but always have the availability to change. Love it. Okay. There are no certainties in trading, only probabilities. So know the defined risk. Know your risk. Know the plan. Know the plan for if it goes wrong. That's pretty much what that means, right, Kieran? I love it. I love it. We're just spitting facts today. Come on down, SPY. Well, right now it's pointing up. I mean, you can look at little things, right? Day traders probably paying attention to a 5-minute pullback. Guess what? The 5 minute says pullback is the most likely scenario. So whatever. Oh, I know. Templar Knights. Templar. Why is that StarCraft in my head immediately? But thank you so much for joining us, Templar. Appreciate you being here today, buddy. Immediately contributing into the chat. We like it. That's why I'm banking out. So you're probably on the day trader side. That's fine. I don't day trade, but you can still utilize all of this information to day trade, which is a great thing. You know StarCraft? Oh, fuck yeah, I do. I suck. I'm absolute garbage. My favorite guy back then was the guy in the car on Terran. He's like, yeah, I'm going. My main video game of choice is League of Legends. TFT with my wife. We play Teamfight Tactics. Hellions, yeah, that's what they are. I watch StarCraft to fall asleep. He's the guy I watch. Let me go look. I can't remember his name, but... And we'll look at markets still. We're still looking at markets. We're still paying attention to what's going on. This is an area where decisions might need to be made. Where's that guy? What's his... Well, I like watching Loco TV. And then... Where is he? Where is he? Can I look at channels? No. Oh, what the heck is his name? He's like a almost bald guy, kind of nerdy, obviously. Euthermal. I like Euthermal. I watch a lot of his stuff. Very chill. Not a Dota fan. No, I never got into Dota. Would you enter a call right now? Depends on, Kalani, I know you like the day trader side of things, so that's difficult for me to talk about with you because I know you like the day trader side of things. If I was saying like, hey, this is one of the scenarios I'm paying attention to, and I'm willing to take a month or 2 months out from right now for calls, then this could potentially be that decision-making point. But that would be looking at bigger time frames, right? The 2 hour. The reason for that is bigger time frames. The 2 hours crossing on the RSI, you're getting two forms of confirmation. So the decision to assume some risk here is there. But what you need to see good things from here is unexpectedly good news because you're at the expected area for the day. No way you know Loco. I mean, I don't know him personally. I did play Valorant with guys from the Guard, though. I do know them. Abram, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Yeah, the coach, or was it, what's his name? I think he plays for G2. He actually used to live with my friend. I think it's that guy. Yeah, I love nerdy game. I love gaming. Gaming's great. Oh, we're breaking through. Remember, we can break through this. That's fine. We just need to understand this is still negative. Testing that 5-day. Looks like we're going to run into it soon. Let's keep it spread out. Eating seeds. The comedian guy. I mean, this is where that area can happen if we get no news. But momentum is shifting. This could just be an oversold bounce, but we'll see. Could this be a higher low? Yes. Peter, you have two forms of confirmation suggesting it's a higher low, right? That'll confirm in 30 minutes. We'll see. But the RSI is about to cross that center line. It already crossed the signal line. The price action will be closing above the 9 and possibly all these moving averages. So high potential there. Right, this is what you see. Now, I like the MACD to follow, but this would be the decision-making of, hey, assume some risk, maybe, right? But understand how it could go wrong. The 30-minute could turn down in negative territory. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. My click rate, my actions per minute or whatever is just really, really bad. That's why I was bad at StarCraft. I just can't do it. Yeah, still needs some work, but this is where it would make sense, like a decision to take if you're a position guy, right, for like a month or two. It would make sense that this is a decision-making time to potentially take something for upside, but you have to understand the risk of the environment you're in right now and where you're at for the day. For the day, you're above the daily expected move. You have not heard of any good news just yet, but you are seeing some inclination that we could be getting some soon. Right? So scenario 1 is on the table right now. You know what else is on the table still? This is negative, so scenario 2 is on the table. And guess what? If this one fails, scenario 3 might be on the table. And if that all fails, then scenario 4 of crash is you come down to these areas, then you get a bear market rally down and below that red zone. There's a lot, but we ran through them and we told you this morning, we have a video out there right now for you to pay attention to which scenario first. Right now you're paying attention to scenario 1. I mean, still, if it's bad news and you curl up a 2-hour chart and you see a boom, you can bottom on bad news. A lot of the time you do that, actually. It's like the bad news isn't as bad as people assume, and then you just get a good earnings and people kind of ignore the bad news. Let's go scenario 4. Hey, scenario 4 just means investment side. Woo! Bear market side trades. Woo! Right? Every scenario we are happy about. If you trade like water, you should be happy about anything that happens in the market. I had to take a loss. Where? Over here. Had to take a little loss, right? It was more aggressive than I thought it would be. But right after that, if I was stuck in that loss, I wouldn't have been able to react to this. My mind would have been too much to the bear side, and boom, this was the best trade for me for 2025 so far. Momentum controls everything. It's not about what people say on the news. It's about what money moves before. Someone always knows more than you do. GME doesn't have an expected move for today, but since you asked for the expected move, I can tell you where the expected move for the week is. It's at 29.16. Right? We do that for the live show. Boom, that's what you got to break through this week. So this is all expected. This is expected. This is expected. What you don't want to see is this. This is what you do not want to see for GME. Pink. Because you're going to get pink, divergence, pink. Oh, you're hoping to wipe that out. That'd be a good sign. This is very good. This is exactly what you want to see for a squeeze right now. Right now, squeeze is not the high probable thing. You're not going to hear me say squeeze is going to happen right now. But this is what you need to see. You need to see this. Patreon members, you know why. You need to see this to see a squeeze. And then you're aware how the more probable thing is that it fails. It is always more probable to fail. But this time, you're seeing something great. So let's see it happen. That'd be fantastic. I'd S my Ps. I'd have a blowout, like my daughter sometimes does. Oh, if it shows that 2-hour divergence, I like to I don't like to short GME very often, but I do like to trim positions heavily if I see divergence. Take profit, right? If I see a negative signal, I'm taking some profit. Hell yeah, dubs. Up or down, you know? As long as we're paying attention to things correctly, up or down. See profit, take profit. That's what I kind of say. You'll literally hear me say in the course, I literally say at one point, people are always asking me, how do you take profit? How do you take profit? One of the things that I literally say is, does the money look good? Do I like that amount of money for my account? If yes, then I take the money. Is my gut feeling good, right? Sometimes it's down to those things, and it's just about making yourself comfortable with what you can control. A negative signal here today would be rejection from right here. Rejection from right here on the 30-minute that causes the 30-minute to turn down. That would be bad. Sometimes you'll get a hint, and sometimes that hint will be on your 5-minute chart, and you'll see this trickle back in and then curl back up. And then at the end of the day, you see that start to roll, and you get that sell to come in. And then you start going into the next day and it goes down like this. That's how this would get really, really ugly in my opinion. Right? Get ugly again. But that would just be scenario 2. That's all just scenario 2. We're aware of it. We're aware of it. If it wants to play out differently, we can change our thinking. I don't see 5-minute hints here. I see a 5 minutes that's squeezing, going ballistic. But if the 30-minute rotates down here, that's why we're in the 5-minute chart. If the 30-minute rotates down, that's very likely to go down to lower prices. Why? Why would that be less likely to do this? Because you're negative, so you're likely to see a stronger move to the downside, especially with no news. So if I think that this is going to happen, this is the area where I could make decisions. I would just heavily consider the fact that, is this the right time? When you see Amazon with 2-hour divergence, you see, and going good, you see Nvidia with divergence on the 30 minutes saying the 2-hour could rotate up. Pretty much, these charts are telling you bigger momentum can kick in here. So am I eager to take something at a key level while everything is showing that we could see something unexpected? No, this just might mean I might need to sit out of this one, and if it happens, unfortunate, and then pay attention to the next scenario for the next setup. Patience, right? Patience. But for now, I'm sitting pretty. I'm loving it. Ba 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 ba. I'm loving it. My life for hire. I love the cinematics in StarCraft. I think those are dope. They should make a full, like, just a plain out movie for StarCraft. That'd be insane. Ray thought SPY would get above March's close at some point this month. Looks impossible now. Never is impossible. March's lows. And for that to close at this point, March's lows. Looks impossible. What the hell? How does this look impossible? Also, let me make sure I didn't... Okay. How does this look impossible? Literally all you need is a 2-hour curl up. Like, you know, we need to think of our heads right now because all you need to see is this type of price action to continue for like one more bar. And guess what? You're very likely to get to these areas. You're going to probably see an attempt, especially if you have news behind it. That's where I'd watch. It's literally just a higher low. Simplify it and understand if this 2-hour curls up, you're going to test this area again. That's the most likely thing. This 2-hour curls up, you're very likely to see this. Doesn't mean it can't go like this, can't go like this, can't go like this. Just means you're very likely to see that. It's very possible. Very, 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 very possible. If you have good news, you're taking it back. You're saying it's impossible right when it's like the most possible. And that's not hate. That's just me telling the truth of how I see it, right? Maybe you see it differently. We can disagree, right? We can agree to disagree. That's perfectly fine. Oh, close was 5. Oh, you mean like the monthly candle. You mean like the monthly candle. Okay, okay, okay. Well, if this 2-hour curls up and you have good news behind it, where are you going? 567. That immediately is the area to pay attention to. That's above 559, just so you're aware. And that wouldn't even be the full ABC kind of move here. You know, simplifying it by calling it ABC, but I'm just saying. And easily could have more time down here. We have not seen anything really out there, at least that I'm aware of. And usually Willow keeps me aware of things. You guys in the chat, you're supposed to keep me aware of the news because I don't pay attention to news rarely. Very rarely do I watch the news and think, oh, yay, the news, Jim Cramer's going to tell me what to do with my money. Okay, I don't want to listen to this song. It is super possible. I'm not either, Willow. That's why I'm not too excited about this bounce, right? I'm like, this is good. We'll pay attention. We'll see what happens by the end of the day. But we're always aware of what? Scenario 2. And this is just the first part of scenario 1. We have to see if scenario 2 starts to play out. Jim Cramer said to sell Nvidia. Nvidia is the one with a 30-minute divergence right now. So if he said that yesterday, he is blatantly wrong on a reversal signal. His timing of being wrong is perfect. Now, I don't know when he said it, but usually Jim Cramer is right for a moment and then very wrong. Surprised GME is holding up. I'm not. I mean, if you read into the Bitcoin thing, I was going, oh, Bitcoin's up. You know what I thought? I didn't look at GME at all. When we were looking at Bitcoin, looking at MSTR, and I go, well, GME should be going up then. But I think people don't know if they've actually purchased or not. Yeah, so now we are, just so you're aware, for the day. For the day, we are outside of that daily expected move, which means 68% chance to do this. That's why we're really saying we want news. You want news right now. That would be massive. Yes, I will tell you why it makes sense. I'll make it make sense for you, Dubs. So Kramer has an investment place, right? He has an investment thing of his own that he wants people, right? He wants people to join, right? So the information he gives, the info, can be wrong to make these people lose money. And then he turns around and says, but look at us. We make money. You're just doing things wrong. Right? He wants people to join this. This is how he makes a lot of money. So he's going to give slightly wrong info. And then people are going to lose money, but he's going to turn around and say, but look at our investment firm. We're making money. So maybe you just need to join that. That's a lot easier. It's a lot more convenient, right? Controlling your own money is tough. It's more convenient just to buy into my thing. Do you see the problem there? I can put it together. I don't know if that's exactly right, but that's how I see it. There's a direct incentive for him to slightly make you lose money and then say, oh, but join my firm. I'm down for that, Kieran. I'm down for Japan. I love Japan, man. I hope that we have a great relationship and continue to have a great relationship with them. Exactly, Ta. We don't even have a 5-minute form of... We have no forms of weakness here. Even day trader regular momentum has not shown weakness. Now, I'm sure like volume maybe isn't the best, right? Volume kind of going down. Squeeze on light volume all the time, though. So in my mind, Dubs, though, that's how I put it together. And I go, he kind of has an incentive to get it a little bit wrong. Selling continues in a day or two. Sounds good to me. I'm down, PM. What, up towards here? The obvious bear level. I'm down. That's going to be, that's going to be the Fed's hand. Trump has forced Jerome Powell to do things before. He has forced his hand. I think for those, you're still looking at May and June. I think right now they're pricing in 4 cuts. Pull back the past couple of months. Thoughts on buying other currencies? Well, as of right now, the time to buy other currencies was when the dollar was coming down. Right. As of right now, the dollar is trying in some way to see an upward move. Right. This was a lot of people getting out of the dollar, right? Meaning going into other currencies, going into other investments, going into gold, going into Bitcoin, whatever, right? Going into other markets, whatever. But for now, you have some divergence down here that suggests the dollar can make a little comeback. So would this be the right time to say, okay, now I'm out of the dollar and I'm going to invest in other currencies? Maybe you'd have to look at the other, but just from the dollar's perspective, if the dollar is going to bounce, then I'd assume a lot of those other currencies maybe trail off for the time being. This can become very complex. And I would say if you're going to say sell out of a currency, a daily bounce would be nice. And then you curl back down, right? On the curl down, that's more when I'd pay attention. It's kind of like selling at the lows. Selling at the lows, not a great idea. Buy low, sell high. Daily divergence at the high. This was when you react, right? Boom. Now, we thought the dollar would just come down into here, right? Come down into these areas. It got way worse. But, you know, things can turn down. How things normally move, though, that decision making then might be in my argument, right? In anyone's argument, it can be a good or bad decision, but in mine, for the time being, it would be a bad decision. But you do what you got to do, you know? IWM breaking out of the bull flag. Very, very nice. We love to see it. IWM held up very well. Oh, 100%, Dubs. How rare is it for it to close outside of the monthly expected moves? It happens 32% of the time. Now, how rare is it to close outside of the second standard deviation? That only happens 5% of the time. So what we were saying was, hey, this could be a 5% moment, but I'm not betting on a 5% chance. If I see a reversal signal, I ain't betting on a 5% chance anymore. I'm going, hey, this thing can go up. Confirmation, boom, goes right back into that move. Understanding that this is 5% and this is 68%, and all of this together is way bigger than that 5%. This is 95% up here, right? 95% right here. So if I see a reversal signal, that's what we try to do around here a lot of the time, right? That's how we dictate direction. We use the probabilities and use our skills. Amazon's a rough one. So if you wanted to look at Amazon, it's just a rough one, but look at that positivity, right? I wanted to get above 174.51 for obvious reasons, right? We see good things there. We see good things, right? So I want to get through that. But what could happen here for Amazon? Bink. That's scenario 2. What's scenario 1 for Amazon? Scenario 1 for Amazon is we see positivity and the 2-hour curls up here. And you have 2-hour divergence. You know what 2-hour divergence likes to do? Curl up daily charts. If you're confused by any of this and you have daily divergence, you almost have like 2/3 of a golden setup for Amazon. If you know what the golden setup is. I'm just saying, a lot of this is just what we talk about. It's just to a T. To a T what we talk about on YouTube to find direction, to a T what we talk about in the course that's 80% off, but also it's just, hey, these things can fail too, right? You have to pay attention to the other side. So if the 30-minute crosses down, it's in negative territory, which means maybe I need to go reach down to those lower prices, fill that gap, and then see if something turns back around, right? It means this is bad. That's where bad things can happen and go down, down, down. But if I see it curl back up, then I go, wow, I was just off on the timing a little bit. But for now, the thing to pay attention to is, does the 30-minute roll down or does the 2-hour chart curl up on the next 2-hour bar? Literally after this bar posts, the next 2 hours will be one of the most important times for this thing as far as bottoming goes. Amazon looks fantastic. Meta has the same scenario. NVIDIA has it just on a higher low, right? I think as JP Morgan does too. You want to look at a financial stock, JP Morgan, even better, even more positive. JP Morgan saying, I want to get to 250.50, 250.50, 252, right up here, 253. Oh, that's why I said 250, 250, 252.50. See if volatility's turned down on the 2-hour. Look at this. This is going to matter. We need to see that negativity come in for volatility. We need to see that positivity come in for the SPY. I want to see good news, though, because Dubs is pointing out a good thing. Dubs is very correct to be pointing out these type of levels. If you run into this and you fail and you see that 2-hour cross back down, that's a problem. But let's not get overly dramatic with things that look better and it's coming back into the monthly expected move. Bitcoin, wow, boom. Uh-oh, 91.8K. This is the troublesome spot. We'll find out. I'm in on Meta, Amazon, and eyeing Google. Actually, I haven't looked at Google. I want to see how that's shaping up. Not a lot to go off of on that 30-minute, but hey, man, you see a 2-hour curl up. It just doesn't look bad. It really doesn't. I mean, I know it looks rough, but at least it's controlled. And then at least if that 2-hour confirms up, you're taking back the 5, test the high, go make a new one. What's the next point to pay attention to if you break through here? Potentially all the way to 173. Ooh, but hey, these things can fail today. We're still paying attention to these 30 minutes. They're negative. We could need divergences across the board and some triple divergences on some other ones. But Google, so far, so good. What's gold doing? I think gold is specifically moving very much so in people pulling out of the dollar and going into gold. I think the dollar and gold are completely dollar down, gold up. But for the time being, you're still seeing people run into gold. I think this will be the FOMO moment finally showing itself. I think it'll happen very soon. I would say by next Wednesday, GLD is going to show. Things are looking rough. Now, I don't think that's maybe a major top. I think we have the opportunity to see another trend move higher. I think it might just be a trend top, but I think you could get a pretty sizable pullback. One tweet about deal with China. This can rip. I agree, Anthony. But you need to see that. So let's pay attention if nothing comes out today. If nothing comes out today, sellers take control, 30-minute curls down. It's not the moment. Can you do it? Let's go Avril. Let's go fake Avril Lavigne. Let me get one more good song, and then I'll probably have to hop off of here. I'm trying to stay a little bit longer today. What caused this? I'm telling you, momentum. I've told you 4 times. What caused Bitcoin to go up? A daily triple divergence, man. That's it. I don't care about anything else. Now I just care that it holds. Do you think that Kashkari speaking at 1040 might move the SPY? Yes. Nexus style. Oh, if it keeps doing what it's doing, Kieran, it's keep doing. I'm not saying I'm taking a short position on gold. Hell no, I ain't doing that. Hell no, I'm not gonna fight against that in this environment. Hell no. Oh, that sucks, Anthony. That's too bad. Well, hopefully, at least you're treating it like, hey, I'm ready to adapt. I think that's great. Richard's like, I am. Richard's got some huevos. Richard's got them huevos. When is MSTR going to go down? Whenever Bitcoin gets a pullback. Could be sooner than you think. Why Bitcoin up? Because it has triple divergence. Momentum said it would go up, and then it did, and it never failed. Just like me. Am I standing up? Absolutely headbanging? Yes. It's one of those songs. You have to do it. All right, guys. I'm going to use the restroom. I'm going to come back, give you guys a solid another 10 minutes, and then I got to hop off. I'll be right back. I'll be back, though. Don't leave, all right? I'll be right back. I got to go take a capiche. We're back. We're back. We're back. We got 10 minutes from right now. 10:26 for me. So 10:36, I got to hop off. I'll give you guys 10 minutes. Marcel, how's it going? Oh, Ernie. Ernie's here. What up, Ernie? Sorry, Ernie. I was taking a nice brisk morning pee. Does Kashkari normally lean hawkish? I have no idea. No idea. I'm sorry about that. I have no idea if he's a hawkish guy. I don't trade based off of speakers. I'll trade based on the reaction from the speakers with momentum. Paranoid. NCLH. I'll look over here for a second. I want to keep this on the SPY for now. I mean, 2 hour showing positivity. It's kind of a rough look, but the daily divergence is very nice. This is all I'd look at. So this is all I'd look at, okay? And I go, okay, there's daily divergence. Perfect, perfect, awesome. This means potentially a good investment, maybe a good option trade for like 2 months, you know? But you would overall say, as long as the 2 hour remains good. Well, we got a bad confirmation right here, a positive bar below the 9. Not a perfect confirmation. It can scare you out, but it confirmed right back up. Right here. Right now, it's confirming right back up. So this is saying it's going okay. It's not going the best, but it's going okay. If that 2 hour rotates down, you start to break through 1590, it starts to get rough. All right. But the daily scale, if you're just taking this in consideration, then you have a plan for if it goes wrong. Hey, if I lose 588 or 1588 or 1585, I'm out. You know, you have that tight little bit of risk right there, right? Because we could come down to these levels. We can curl down on the daily. But you also have the reward that's like, hey, we can go up for a test of like 2089. Pretty decent. That could take some time, so I'd give myself a lot of time to work with. Very nice. These next 2 hours matter a lot. Look at Meta. Meta didn't look the best. Okay, Meta breaking to a new high. But still, man, that thing is negative, negative, negative. Scenario 2 is still on the table. We have not seen the confirmation of the 2 hour yet. We're going to see a fresh bar in a moment. Let's just see how the beginning of that bar behaves. I like the daily look, Dubs. Get some chili peppers in this, bia. Addicted to the shindig. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's still struggling a bit, but still holding. Just looking for the potential for triple divergence still. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Skeptical. I have about 91.8K marked off. I like that you're exceptionally skeptical. Very good way to be as a trader. Skeptical of things at certain times. Very, very good. I don't know. I don't even see 5-minute weakness. I'd be watching this and just being like, hey, that's squeeze-like behavior for the 5. We got to see that leak into a 30, but this is the area. You have a 68% chance to close below here by the end of the day. What's going to happen? Yeah, you need the dollar getting some strength. You do. This is one of those scenarios where you actually want to see the dollar getting strength. You want people going back into the dollar. People came dramatically out of it. You need people to invest in the dollar. Or at least trade in dollars now. Right? If you're trading other markets, you might be trading another currency at that point. The move index has a big move. Uh-oh. Yikes. I mean, some bond market volatility, man. Trim the Amazon and gold risk, both in profit. Hey, that's always a good sign, right, Richard? Doesn't mind trimming to make sure you're more comfortable. Yeah, I see that move index kind of ripping. Wait a minute, I'm testing now, we all lose. It's like you. Palantizzle? Oh. Gold? Oh. Hey, it wiped out the daily divergence on GLD at least. I wonder what futures shows. Can you chill out, dogs? Okay, it's still showing it on the RSI for gold futures. That could be a mean pullback. Pull all the way back down to 3,000. Maybe it just retests into like 3,200. Bad. Oh yeah, that Red Hot Chili singing. Been good vibes today. What, Jonah? I haven't seen that. Someone's got to clarify with if that's the news. Sad love is living on the West End. Let's go to Truth Social. See what's happening. Haven't seen him post anything on my Truth Social account. I accept my calls if that's true. Yeah, if that's true, that's crazy. But I haven't seen that, and that would get a big reaction. So we'll see. Kurt, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Scenario 1. We are in Scenario 1, aware of Scenario 2 and 3. Like gym class in half an hour. I don't know if he'd go through all this turmoil just to drop everything. I mean, maybe if they've dropped as well, that would be kind of cool. Yeah, I think Palantir looks good. I extended that to that one specifically, Ernie. I extended that. I used it extended hours and looked at an hourly chart. I have to spread it out on extended hours, but if you look at an hourly chart just from the regular perspective, regular hours, looks like an hourly swing. If you look at it from the perspective of adding the extended hours, you have hourly divergence on the RSI. That looks pretty nice. Yeah, I'm down with that, Chris. We're down with that. We'll see, though. I haven't seen that anywhere. This is where we need Willow. Because Willow's got that news on lock. Let's do this. Let's see. Latest. This is where rejection can happen. So right now it says no specific updates on the Trump tariffs reported for today. Like context for the ongoing. Recent developments. April 18th, Trump indicated U.S. in talks with China about potential tariff resolution. So nothing as of today from what I'm seeing. Rubicorn, thank you so much for joining today. Appreciate you being here. Suture is getting tired. I just typed it in. I'm like, there's no news. Which means no news means watch out for scenario 2. But right now, looks good. But scenario 2 includes staying negative. So if we're negative here and we curl down, right, that would be a bad thing. That would mean scenario 2 means going down towards these levels. Now, all you need is to see that squeeze behavior. You know what squeeze behavior would look like? Going up, little pullback, going up, little pullback, going up and up. So what we kind of don't want to see is like this by the end of the day. That's what you don't want to see. That would be more of a hint. Now, if you just get bad news, watch if the 30-minute confirms down. Scenario 2, still on the table. I know, Willow. If it was true, the SPY would be up 5. Exactly. That's how I was like, I don't know about that. Someone probably just spewing out nonsense. The fake news, you know. IWM. Come on, 2 hour. Do your thing. IWM will be complex, but 30-minute divergence may be still possible, but my goodness. Something different's going on here. That's a pretty good reaction. We'll see. I don't even know if I want them to drop all the tariffs unless it's 0 for 0. If they drop the tariffs, I'm fine with it. And I'm staying past my time just a little bit here. I wanted to watch a little bit more. Surely Trump would tell us it's all good to buy stocks, right? It's a great time to buy. Oh, God. Just can't be saying things like that. Because the move would have happened either way. Just by the way, it would have happened either way. Just so you know. It didn't happen because of that tweet. A pause would have caused a crazy move no matter what. That's why it's like that tweet just did not need to go out there. Come on, where are Trump's handlers? I think so, Jim. I think he has a better feel for what he's doing this time. And yeah, it's very volatile, but I think if he would back out again, that'd be surprising to me. Oh, bad rejection from Amazon, but getting to the key level. Wait for me. No. Did Bitcoin stop at the 91.8 area? Yeah, right in that area. Here's your overtime pay. Hey, it's just me. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, I didn't want to leave you guys on this, but I'm going to have to hop off in a moment here. But thank you so much for the $4.99 from It's Just Me. Everyone, give a big round of applause for It's Just Me. Thank you, It's Just Me. Appreciate it, buddy. Now I've made, you know, now I've made $8 or whatever during this stream. That ad money, you know? Very nice. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll see. Just keep in mind scenario 2. If you need to, just go watch that video that we posted this morning to remind yourself of those scenarios. Maybe draw them up on your chart just to make sure you're keeping aware of them, you know? But other than that, guys, I will have to be hopping off like right now. I wanted to stick around for the beginning of this. We are testing the 5-day, so we are not out of the woods yet. We have not seen scenario 1 fully play out. The 2-hour has not confirmed, but this 2-hour bar can be very, very important as long as we remain at these levels. Oh, it's just you? It's just me? Oh, burn from Shorts Fridays coming in with the $10 donation. Thank you guys for giving back to me. I appreciate you guys paying for a little bit extra time. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I have to hop off now, but we will be giving you more time later on Rumble. We'll take a look. What if by the end of the day, scenario 2 becomes more likely? Well, we're going to be paying attention to that over on Rumble later today. The link is down there in the description. Other than that, guys, like, I think we're paying attention to the right things. That's why I wanted to sleep on it, put out a video that really had the high potential to find those scenarios based on the volatility we are seeing. So check out that video if you haven't already. It's worth the time to give it a little look throughout the day. Make sure you're aware of those 3 to 4 scenarios that we were talking about. And then if none of those play out, we're going to have to change our thinking. As of right now, scenario 1 is still possible and probable, but the 2-hour hasn't confirmed up, which means we could always just rotate this 30-minute down and then see scenario 2 become the next try to play. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you. Thank you for your contributions in the chat today. We had a fantastic live stream. Congratulations to anyone who had confidence in the triple divergence for Bitcoin. That's the only reason I need to say, hey, it has a high probability to go up. And look at that. It went to the upside almost all the way to 91.8K. Fantastic. Thank you guys for being a part of this community. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for liking, subscribing, doing all that good stuff. And I hope you have a fantastic effing day today. All right. Peace out. See you on Rumble later on for the close. Peace.